trading at 2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $1,545. Antiwar.com reports from U.S. officials familiar with the situation say that the Trump administration is working to push through billions of dollars in arms sales to Saudi Arabia in the next week or two, with an eye towards having the pacts finalized before Trump's visit to Riyadh later this month. Massive civilian death tolls in the Saudi war in Yemen have led some in Congress, as well as a number of human rights groups, to push the U.S. and Saudi Arabia's other arms dealers to cut back on certain sales related to the war for fear they involve the commission of war crimes. Former President Obama had willingly limited the sales a little bit at the very end of his administration, though President Trump has since moved to reverse that, insisting that it would repair the relationship damaged by the extremely limited moves by his predecessor to limit Saudi slaughter in Yemen. With the Saudis looking to spend even more on war and the Pentagon looking to join in on the Yemen attack, the Trump administration appears all too eager to look the other way of the matter of a few thousand civilians killed here or there, particularly if it means he can brag up billions in new sales during his upcoming visit. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports a federal appeals court overturned a lower court's decision to dismiss a California woman's lawsuit to have U.S. Airways' $15 bag fee refunded after they lost her luggage. While the $15 fee might seem paltry, the woman's lawyers have sought to turn the case into a class action lawsuit, which could put American Airlines, which took over U.S. Air, on the hook for returning millions in luggage fees for customers whose bags failed to arrive on time. Haley Hickok Huffman filed suit against U.S. Air to get her $15 back after the bag she checked failed to arrive on her flight from San Luis Obispo, California to Colorado Springs, Colorado in 2013. A district court judge dismissed the suit, saying the airline never promised to refund the fee as part of its written terms of service. Under the Federal Airlines Deregulation Act, the judge ruled airlines are only held to a best effort standard in delivering luggage. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system and to fully capitalize on that decision in their fundraising efforts. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. Reuters reports a former Texas policeman who has been charged with murder in the shooting of a teenager has left jail after posting bond, according to authorities on Saturday. Dallas County Sheriff's Department spokeswoman Melinda Urbina said on a text message that bond for former Balk Springs officer Roy Oliver was $300,000. According to the Parker County Sheriff's Office, just west of Dallas, and a jail official for the county, Oliver surrendered to authorities on Friday after a warrant was issued for his arrest on a charge of murder. He was released on bond the same day. Oliver was fired by the force of the suburban Dallas Police Department earlier in the week for policy violations. The shooting, which took place on April 29th in a primarily minority neighborhood in Balk Springs, about 15 miles southeast of Dallas, stoked simmering tensions over perceived racial bias in the U.S. policing. Balk Springs police have said Oliver and another officer were responding to a disturbance on that Saturday night and heard multiple gunshots. They came across a vehicle with teens and ordered it to stop, but the vehicle pulled away. Jordan Edwards, a high school student described by his family and friends as a standout student and athlete, was struck by a bullet to the head and died. An attorney for the family has asked supporters to avoid holding any protest or vigils before the teen is laid to rest. Police body camera footage from the scene was reviewed before the department made its decision to fire Oliver. Police Chief Jonathan Haber told a news conference on Tuesday that the video contradicted an earlier version he gave of the incident, in which he said the car was in reverse and heading towards the officer. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Researchers at Princeton University's Department of Sociology have made a major leap in our understanding of social interaction.
We conducted trials in 90 supermarkets across the country and found that essentially 100% of people disapproved of having a stranger hit them across the face and then expose their genitalia right in the middle of the supermarket, which we found very interesting.
Researchers observed similar reactions when the subject hurled shopping carts toward unsuspecting shoppers, stood in the deli section rubbing cold cuts against his chest, or got right near cashier's ears and began loudly singing Yankee Doodle.
In this particular trial, we had our subject, Kevin, take off his shirt, tape a banana to his forehead, and charge at various shoppers like he was a rhino. Within 20 minutes, store owners called the police and he was arrested, allowing us to come to the conclusion that this type of behavior is still considered at least somewhat taboo.
This is the Onion News Network. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You may dial in toll-free, and you can take control of the airwaves by bringing up whatever's on your mind. It is the live Sunday edition here on Free Talk Live. And joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Kallen.
And Mark.
Kallen Diggs back with us once again because Johnny Ray, our normal Sunday night co-host, he's a thespian. He is an actor. And he's in a Shakespearean play, and I'm sorry, I forget which one. It's either Hamlet or Romeo and Juliet, one or the other. But anyway,
a famous one.
He dies in the play. That's all I know. That's all I remember. But he's out doing.
It's Romeo and Juliet. He is a brother, an older brother
of Romeo.
I think so.
Okay. So anyway, he's a talented actor, and he's out tonight. So at rehearsals. Anyway, you can dial in toll free. You can bring up anything you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I think maybe we should start tonight with a Venezuelan story that I've been basically sitting on for 2 weeks at this point. It's probably really stale, but. If you're in Venezuela, it's probably really stale, but the majority of our listeners are not.
Not in Venezuela.
If you are in Venezuela, then if you're able to listen to streaming audio, right on, because the government there throttles the bandwidth of the internet. They purposefully make the bandwidth less than what it could be for the people in Venezuela. I'm sure the government officials have plenty of bandwidth for themselves.
Yes, well, they're not going to watch things that are prohibited.
Sure. Toll-free number if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733, and you may Skype in at Skype username LRN.FM. Now, we were talking with Kallen on Friday night when you guest hosted for the first time, and you've done some South American traveling. You went down to Peru and Argentina.
Ecuador.
Oh, Ecuador?
Yeah, the Argentina trip got delayed thanks to the TSA.
Right, that was the one that you couldn't go because they took your laptop and you had to go back for it. And
just
they
made my
jump
life
through hoops.
Yeah. Thanks, TSA.
So you didn't go to Venezuela then?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No.
Didn't want to, I presume.
No. I've heard that's probably among the harshest countries in South America when it comes to press freedom, when it comes to just overall freedom.
Yeah, it is not a friendly place to be. It's also the kind of place you might just get killed. There's a lot of violence in Venezuela. You're not legally allowed to carry a gun to defend yourself, so you're pretty much...
A bunch of people do.
I'm sure they do, but if you are a visitor to the country, it is much less likely that you're going to be able to hook yourself up with a firearm within a short amount of time of having arrived. If you live there, then you might be able to over time acquire something like that. But it's illegal to defend yourself if you're attacked with a firearm, and so therefore anybody who wants to break the law and have a gun can just easily rob whoever they want or commit whatever kind of horrific acts that they want. We can talk about what's going on in Venezuela, but I do want to welcome our brand newest radio affiliate, KWTO, which is located in Springfield, Missouri. They're at AM 560. I know you love the low dial positions on AM, Mark.
I do. They travel farther.
Yeah, that's about as low as it gets. Yep. 560 AM.
What's the wattage?
Good question. I didn't put that in my notes to welcome them.
It travels farther than it would up on 1400, I can tell you that.
And they're also on FM at 93.3, so welcome aboard to all of our listeners in Springfield. So yes, this is a different show. It is Free Talk Live. When we say you can call in about anything, we We really do mean that because you can take control of the airwaves here and bring up whatever you want. So, jumping into the story here, we're going to try to catch you up as briefly as possible on what's been happening in Venezuela because, I mean, this has been years in the making, what's happening there now. And there are people in the streets that have been in the streets now for multiple weeks. The protests there are ongoing against the current administration, against the administration of Nicolas Maduro.
Against hunger.
Who was, that's their motivator. And Maduro was the successor to Hugo Chavez, the long worshipped communist guy, president, I guess, but most would say dictator, because running against these people is very, very difficult. They're going to make your life a living hell if you try to be some level of serious opposition to the status quo. The main guy who's been running against Maduro has been prohibited from running for office now for 15 years. So they're just doing everything they can to try to stop the opposition from getting into control. In 2016, they were supposed to have like regional elections, like the state elections, and those were postponed. Now Maduro is saying that he's hoping those can happen sometime this year.
I bet he's hoping really, really hard, considering he's the one who's stopping them.
Right. So there's all that. And then there was this petition to remove Maduro from office, which garnered enough signatures, but Maduro has managed to put that off as well until who knows when. It was supposed to be put off till this year, and of course it was put off. If it was put off till this year, then even if Maduro is removed from office, there's a rule that would have said that if he'd been removed in 2016, then they would have had a new election. But now, because it's this year, for some reason, his successor would replace him. So ultimately, it's pointless.
Yeah.
If the second, the right-hand man is just going to come in and continue the same policies, then what's the point? And those policies have resulted in very hungry people, as you suggested there, Mark. There are people standing in lines all across Venezuela trying to get the most basic of food items. They have to wait. The average, and this was months ago that this was the average, so it may be higher now. The average amount of time the average Venezuelan is waiting per month was like 36 hours, just waiting in lines. They spend 36 hours a month.
That's just the bread lines, yep.
Right. Just trying to get some rice or whatever the item is that the store manages to get in. And, of course, this is all happening because of the economic controls that the Venezuelan government has put on society there.
I think eventually Venezuela is probably going to have a civil war. I definitely experienced that in Ecuador. Unfortunately, it was unfortunate to be stuck down there when all chaos was breaking loose. But
really?
Lots of the Ecuadorians down at that time, I was in Guayaquil, which is kind of the coastal city. It's like the second biggest city there in Ecuador, and a lot of people was very displeased with President Correa, and
so people were in the streets there too.
Yes, and it was crazy. People were setting car tires on fire. People were breaking windows. As an American being abroad, it definitely wasn't a safe place at that time.
Doesn't sound that way. I didn't even know that was happening in Ecuador.
Yeah, but that was 2010, so that was about 7 years ago. But
has it settled down since then?
That's what I've heard.
Okay.
That's what I've heard. But I definitely believe that Venezuela may have the very thing, may have also kind of similar civil war happen in their country as well, because it's only but so much that people will continue to allow. There's like a threshold, and unfortunately, sort of like shaking soda, shaking a bottle of soda and then opening the cap. Eventually it's going to erupt. And I think it looked like the people are coming to them.
Well, there was another story I had that was all about South American countries, and we never read this one on the air, but all about how there's a rising anti-government sentiment across a lot of the South American countries. So that's probably what's affecting Ecuador. Now, does that mean they're anti-government overall? Probably not. It probably means they're just anti-this government, whatever this government might be that's in power at the moment.
Anti-government seems to have a theme. It's coming out of Hollywood, and once it's coming out of the movie producers, then you can expect it to get.
You're talking about like the Lego movie or whatever?
Well, no, I'm not talking just about that. I mean, just about everything you see is very individualistic. I
don't know if I agree with you, but Give me an example.
Just everything I'm seeing, all the Marvel movies, which is just about all of Hollywood these days.
Isn't it possible that you're just interpreting art in the way that makes the most sense to you?
I don't know. Captain America goes up against, a government Hydra, which infiltrates the government through World War II, pervasively infects S.H.I.E.L.D. and all intelligence agencies, and then Captain America proceeds to bring down 3 weapons of mass destruction, government-funded weapons of mass destruction. No, I don't think I'm just making it up.
Yeah, I'm interested in hearing other people's opinions on that because, there's always been corrupt government movies my entire adult life.
The 80s, man, was all about, hey, you got to help the group. You got to stick with everything. It's not that anymore. Now it's freedom!
It's interesting because, a lot of Hollywood is on the left. So,
Agreed.
I don't know, man. 855-450, free. You can share your thoughts. More on Venezuela coming up. It's Free Talk Live.
If you're a sleep apnea sufferer who's on the go to your phone. Because if you give us a call right now, you'll be able to try the world's first portable mini CPAP device absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights. It's the Transcend Mini CPAP, an engineering marvel that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. Its unique design is so small and so light, you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. No more dragging around a big, bulky CPAP. Even better, now you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights by calling minicpap.com, 1-800-768-3138. Transcend is FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. You can also add a battery pack that's as tiny as a deck of cards. So now you can enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. But don't wait. To receive your 10-night in-home trial, call minicpap.com now. 1-800-768-3138. That's 1-800-768-3138.
Are you drowning in debt? Are you struggling to make minimum payments? Did you know that on average a household with at least one credit card struggles with over $10,000 in credit card debt? If this sounds like you, know that it's not your fault. Credit card debt happens to good people. Credit card companies lure you in with low introductory rates and low minimum payments. Before you know it, you're in over your head. We've helped thousands of good people just like you become debt-free with our Debt Reset program that will dramatically reduce your debt down to a fraction of what you owe. Our Debt Reset program is customized to get you debt-free in as little as 24 to 48 months with one low monthly payment. If you owe over $10,000 in credit card debt or even personal loans, call 800-912-6177. There are no upfront fees or out-of-pocket expenses. You don't pay a dime until we succeed. Call now to see how the Debt Reset program can work for you. 800-912-6177. That's 800-912-6177. Again, 800-912-6177.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love. But make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Bring up what you want. Live Sunday edition here. You may take control of the airwaves via this number. It's 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. And you can Skype in. Skype username LRN.FM. In studio tonight, Ian here.
Kallen.
And Mark.
And we're going to go to your phone calls and thoughts. But first, I do want to let you know how you can get 50% off. That's 50% off of your web hosting from HostGator. They're one of the top hosting companies out there. So whether you have a website and you want to move it, or you want to create a brand new website, maybe a blog or a website for your business, you go to HostGator.com/FTL. That's HostGator.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live, and that's where you'll save that 50%. And you'll also, they make it easy to get started if you've never had a website before. There's a simple one-click, easy installation for WordPress. They've got 24/7 over the phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive and user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation and simplicity of use into your hands. Plus a 99.99% uptime rating. Just go to HostGator.com/FTL. That's /FTL. HostGator.com to save 50%. HostGator.com/FTL. Let's go to the phones. To the fun. We've got Terry on the road. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Terry.
Hey, can you hear me?
Hi, you're on the air.
Yeah, I want to ask Kallen a question.
Certainly.
Hey.
Hey, what's up, Kallen?
How you doing?
What's on your mind? Go ahead with the question.
What can you tell me about Tequisquiapan, Mexico? How's he liking it down there?
I was down there, let's see, altogether more or less about 6 months. It was great. It was.
And you went to a few different places
in
Mexico, right?
Yes. I was in San Miguel de Allende. Then from there, I was in Tequisquiapan, and then I was in Querétaro, and then Cuernavaca. Tequisquiapan, it's a small town, so it's not a city, but it has everything you need. You know, it has three grocery stores actually. It has Bodega Aurrera, which is like Walmart. It has Soriana, which is another fairly medium-sized grocery store, and then it has the independent store. It has a lot of health facilities. For such a small town, it's quite impressive. The health facilities they have. The town square is very small, so there's not a lot of, I guess, downtown life. A lot of people typically just sit by the square and drink coffee, and you see people sell their wares, their hats, and things like that. But it's a very quiet place. If you wanted to get away and just relax and kind of really immerse yourself in a Mexican town, I highly recommend. I had a great time and made some great relationships there.
How is internet connectivity? This is something that I always wonder whenever I go some places. I just don't feel like I live without it anymore. And what's it cost and how fast is it?
For sure, Mark. Internet connectivity it's a bit slower, but I wouldn't say it's like significantly slower. I would say they have DSL and even better. They have like some speeds that are better than that. I think something like 3 megabytes, 4 megabytes, something like that. So it's good. It's good depending on, I guess, what you're trying to use it for. The price.
And we're talking about you're talking about
Tequisquiapan.
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 Okay.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah.
And you can get that type of level of internet for about $15. Well, it depends on the exchange rate because it kind of fluctuates. But right now, it's been very good. It's been going between, it's been kind of more or less at 19 pesos to $1.
Mm-hmm.
So really is a great time to live in Mexico. Because before, when I first went there, it was 15 to 1. but it started going up, and the highest it went within the past few months was 20. But so it's between 19 and 21.
Mexico is really becoming a destination for expatriation or people leaving the United States. It's close. It has most of the amenities, great Mexican food, obviously, and I've known a lot of people that are going down there and are quite happy.
Yeah, and I stated this the last time. As far as healthcare, it's amazing.
Lots cheaper and just as good as what you were telling us on Friday.
Exactly.
Yeah, lots less costly. A doctor's visit can be like $10.
And they pay attention to you, is what you were saying before as well.
For sure.
Yeah,
they don't treat you
just
like
run in and run out.
Did anybody blame you for Donald Trump? I'm not kidding. I mean, people think this stuff.
Yeah.
Terry, do you have some other questions for Kallen?
I just wanted to ask him. So he would rather live there than in Querétaro. Querétaro is a big town and pretty much got everything.
Yes. Querétaro is very big. It's like 2.4 million people. But.
And that's nearby, same state.
Yeah, same state. Yeah, Tequisquiapan is in the state of Querétaro. Querétaro is a state and a city. I mean, if you like if personally, I would prefer Tequis than Querétaro. Traffic is just like L.A. or New York. Traffic is horrible, but at the same time, it's a very well-developed city. Public transit.
You're talking about Querétaro?
Yes, Querétaro is a very well-developed city. So if you're a person that enjoys the big city life, that's something I recommend. Also too, one thing that's great about Mexico is there's a lot of vegetables that you can get there that typically you wouldn't find in the U.S. or may be very difficult to find. Like
that's what I'm looking for. Yeah,
that's good.
And as I understand it, basically everything's organic. They don't even know what organic means.
Yeah, it's Mexico really has been Monsanto has been kind of they've kind of been going back and forth. It was at one point in where Mexico outlawed GMOs, and then they took the ban off, and they put the ban back on. I'm not sure kind of how special interests are kind of influencing the Mexican government regarding that, but I will agree that the food quality of the agriculture in Mexico is probably, I would beg to say, significantly better than the U.S. A lot of crops are not irradiated. There are pesticides used, but it's not as much. So overall, you would definitely get healthier produce.
I loved it when I was in the department/grocery store thing in Acapulco. The produce section had like an entire half an aisle dedicated to hot peppers.
Oh yeah.
You don't see that in the U.S. That's for sure.
That's true.
All right, Terry, anything else?
I know that's the thing.
Hey, thanks for the call,
Terry.
Man. I appreciate it. Toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Let's go.
Better watch out for that wall. It might be being built to keep us out, not keep us in. Keep them out, yeah.
Yeah, that's a legitimate concern.
Mark.
That's a legitimate concern. Liberty Lobster is on the line via Skype.
Hey, how are you guys tonight?
Hey, what's on your mind?
Though, by the way, the name change was in response to what James Whittakin called me yesterday. But I'm actually calling in to ask a question about him, Mr. Whittakin, and the bumpy ride you guys have had with him. This has nothing to do with him.
You're referring to a caller to the show who has been banned for a period of time due to being extremely boring and calling about the same thing over and over again. So
also threatening the hosts.
Yeah. I mean, I'd prefer to not talk about him, but if you got a question, stand by. We'll continue here. 855-450-FREE. That's the number. That's 855-450-3733. You can bring up what you want. This is Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Do you know what's lurking in your water? More than 200 contaminants could be sitting there, just waiting for your glass. With a ProPure water filter, start enjoying clean and great-tasting water today. ProPure filters, independently tested, latest water filter technology. ProPure systems do not require electricity and are easy to set up and easy to use. To find out more, visit your authorized ProPure dealer or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Feens radio show. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgoristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agorist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers, and some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any tomfoolery. So go with AgoristHosting.com. And if you want to get your foot in the door with decentralized marketplaces, Agorist Hosting is now offering Open Bazaar hosting. Go to AgoristHosting.com, click on the button that says Get Hosted. Agorist Hosting, that's AGORIST, hosting.com.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Angioprim can unclog blocked arteries and improve blood flow in all parts of your body. Angioprim is oral chelation. Easy, simple, liquid oral chelation. You take it with juice before breakfast and forget about it. Angioprim works fast, unlike old-fashioned chelation that takes hours. Just log on to angioprim.com. That's Angioprim, ANGIOPRIM, angioprim.com. Angioprim users say they have more energy, more strength, more endurance. Increased circulation and blood flow will make all your body parts work better. Log on to angioprim.com to get more information on how you can get started and start feeling better, having fun, and doing more again. Lots more. Talk to a trained Angioprim consultant. Call Angioprim toll-free at 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221. Or log on for complete information. Angioprim.com. That's Angioprim.com. Find out how Angioprim can work for you. Get the facts about Angioprim at Angioprim.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll free and join us here. Bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and the Skype username here is LRN.FM. So feel free to connect with us there. In studio, it's Ian,
Kallen,
and Mark.
We're going to go to your calls and thoughts. Back to Liberty Lobster. He's on the line here, calling from Ohio, I believe, on Skype. Go ahead, Liberty Lobster.
I was actually talking to James last night, and
James is a caller who's been banned from this show, the only caller who is currently banned from this open phone show because he's so boring and keeps calling about the exact same thing over and over again. Is obsessed with past calls. So I'm not sure why you want to talk about him. I guess it's generally I consider it unfair to talk about somebody who can't respond, but that's what you're calling about, so go ahead.
I'm going to clarify this. Apparently, you guys have accused him multiple times of having several DUIs.
Yes.
That's
Accused.
based on arrest records that are publicly available.
He informed me that he only had one DUI, and he was just arrested 3 times. And
arrested 3 times for the same DUI? This has been an interesting stop.
And the reason this confuses me is because I've heard you guys say that's a victimless crime if nobody gets hurt.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yep. Who's the victim? I'd say that, to me, drunk driving is a threat against your neighbor.
It could be, unless you're just slowly going 5 miles an hour in the right-hand lane, in which case you're not a threat at all.
Agreed.
But nobody's going to do that because they know if they go 5 miles an hour in the right-hand lane that the cops might all of a sudden take an interest in why that person's going so slowly.
Well, I would say this, that drunk driving is a complicated issue that libertarians tend to disagree on for a variety of reasons. At its core, zoning laws cause many of the problems. It used to be that
you can't have a bar in your neighborhood.
It used to be you could walk down to the tavern, which was one of the houses that was in the neighborhood, and you stagger on home, or at the very least ride your horse on home.
That's
now
probably illegal now too.
Maybe. I don't know.
Riding while intoxicated or something like that.
Somebody knows.
It is in a lot of places it's illegal to walk home drunk. Like if you stumble into the streets and the cop sees it, they're gonna pop you for what they call protective custody around here. So I mean, unless you live right next door to the bar, there's still a chance they might come get you. But yeah, obviously it's much less dangerous to others if you're walking home drunk. Then you're really only putting yourself in danger. Because if you stumble in front of a car, then that's all your fault.
True.
Whereas if you're driving a car, you could hit somebody who's innocent or damage property.
Well, what I want to know is if it's a victimless crime, then why did you give James crap about it?
The reason
you almost seem to use it as an attack.
Well, the reason is that he regularly, for one, we disagree on what's happened. 2, I believe that he has a drinking problem. Like if somebody has 3 DUIs, it's an indication of it's an indication of a drinking problem.
Look, the only reason why we know this about James is because he had called to threaten, or has threatened Mark and his family on multiple occasions, and all the evidence is on the Things James Whittakin Says. That's a page on Facebook, so you can go and read it for yourself. But after he made such a big deal about being who he is, then some of our listeners doxed him. They looked him up. They found out where he lived. They found out, his phone number. They found out his criminal record. And so some of that came up on the air at some point because, he's nuts.
Well, the thing is, the reason I asked this is, look, I'm not.
It sounds like
James.
you're going to bat for him.
No, it's fine.
I'm not going to bat for him. He was being a jerk to me last night. He threatened to come over to my house and kick the crap out of me.
I wonder if he was inebriated.
He claimed he wasn't, but he sounded like he was.
Well, that's the thing is that who makes these kinds of threats to people all across the world except for somebody who's drunk? Yeah. I should hope he's drunk because a sober person doing this is insane.
Well, I understand you guys banned him for being boring, but isn't the show – the reason I ask this is, isn't the show called Free Talk Live?
Yep, it sure is. And that's why I spent a half an hour explaining this on the time at which I did go ahead and initiate the ban. The ban was initiated because I have 2 co-hosts who are regularly here with me who won't even talk to the guy. Right. It's gotten to the point where –
Let me ask you this, Liberty Lobster. Do I, Mark Edge – a person who's had his family threatened by this maniac on multiple occasions, like with death, blowing up my house with my 9-year-old child in it. Do I have an obligation to talk to this effing lunatic when they call in? Because it's Free Talk Live?
Sometimes there are problems like that. And I understand why you're angry at him. But this is a show. This is not your personal beef with him.
Oh, it's my personal beef. I'm just not going to speak to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, that's the thing. Is Ian has to deal with there's sort of 2 tiers of hosts here, right? There's hosts and there's co-hosts. Ian, Darrell, and I are hosts. 2 of his hosts refuse to speak to the guy.
Yeah, they take their headphones off. They won't even listen to what he has to say at this point. And so then it's just me and James at that point, or if there's a third person on the show, me and the third person and James. And it doesn't, and I don't care about that. Like that, that went for a while. Like Daryl's been taking off his headphones for a while. Mark, you were taking them off as well for a while. And it just got to the point where I decided to bring back the temporary ban from the show because he just keeps calling about the same thing. And yeah, it is Free Talk Live. Yeah, you're free to call in about anything that you want. That's kind of the rules here. But if you keep calling about the same exact thing every night, we're going to get bored of it, and we're going to tell you need to call about something else. It's fine. Right. You can call once per night, as you generally do, Liberty Lobster, but you don't call about the exact same thing.
No, you call about something different every night.
And you don't make the exact point.
Imagine a caller who calls in every night, so-called Minister Ian Freeman, let's talk about how you've wronged me for 4 or 5 years.
Right, and then he brings back things that happened in the past that he's got some sort of log of that he's been keeping track of for 5 years or however long it's been, and he just keeps bringing up all this old stuff that most of the people listening weren't listening when it happened. Our radio listeners have no idea what he's talking about. So there's a balance between, letting anyone call about anything, which we do, and having an entertaining radio show. And he's just not entertaining if he's going to call about the same thing. So I told him what the rules were. It wasn't just in an out-and-out ban. I let him know, James, you're operating under these rules now where you must call about something, current, not what happened, a week ago on the show, but talk about some sort of issue and don't keep calling about the same thing. And he violated those rules within, moments of me giving them to him. So I put he's on a 2-month ban.
I've got one last thing I'd like to say. Mark, he told me that he never threatened your wife and kids. He threatened you.
I'm not interested in hearing what James said through you. This isn't, I don't want you playing mailman for James on the air here. James is banned from this show, and we know what James says. He said the same things for the last 4 or 5 years on this program. So do you have something you want to actually discuss besides this other caller who I would prefer not to talk about?
You know what? I suppose if you want to close out the discussion, fine. I'll call back when I have a better topic.
Okay, thank you. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We continue here. And yeah, there's proof that you can call about anything you want to. That's the last thing I want to talk about because, again, like I said, I don't think it's fair to talk about somebody if they can't respond to it. And so that's all I have to say about that.
I'd like to point out that people can go to Things James Whittekine Says on Facebook. Well, yeah, and see for yourself whether or not he's threatened. Because in some cases, he does couch it in terms like, it would be really terrible if you saw God tonight, wouldn't it, Mark?
Yeah. So the toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. So hopefully people will call tonight about, interesting stuff. Like Venezuela or whatever it is that's on your mind. We'll continue with that here in moments. And you can join us on Skype as our caller there did. The Skype username is LRN.FM. And to that caller's credit, to James's credit, he hasn't tried to call in since the ban. So he has.
I thought he was you blocked him on Skype.
He could still call the regular lines.
Okay.
And he hasn't. It's to my knowledge, he has not attempted. So kudos to him for that. More coming up here in moments. 855-450-FREE. You can bring up what you want on Free Talk Live.
Warning. If you've recently declared bankruptcy, you're going to want to cover your ears. Because there's an alternative to bankruptcy, and it could be better than you'd ever think possible. But if you've already declared bankruptcy and have missed this opportunity, you'll want to cover your ears now. Here it is. Right now, the company that has resolved more credit card debt than anyone in the U.S. may be able to settle your debt too. You could resolve your debt with one low monthly program payment. If you call right now and qualify, Freedom Debt Relief will show you how low your monthly program payment could be for free. Call now, 1-800-660-1581. That's 1-800-660-1581. If you're struggling with debt, this could be your answer. And the bigger your debt, the more money you could save. To find out for free how much of your hard-earned money Freedom Debt Relief could help you save, call now. 1-800-660-1581. 1-800-660-1581. 1-800-660-1581.
The Genesis Communications Network is one of America's premier broadcasters of captivating talk radio. We thank you for listening. Now, just imagine there are thousands of people who are just as passionate about radio as you are. But what you may not realize is how easy and affordable it is to advertise with us. Radio commercials for your business could be heard on hundreds of radio stations across the U.S. every day. We can help you by creating an effective radio advertising campaign for your company. From script writing to producing your commercial, just like the one you're listening to right now. No other network provides the level of customer service we do. When it comes to radio advertising, we are your one-stop shop. And no matter how big or small your business is, we can help. Email us at advertise@gcnlive.com, and an experienced advertising executive will help you take the first step towards driving more customers to your business or website. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Sea anemones are the most disgusting of all tidal creatures. Their thick tentacle arms are engorged with the collected urine that makes up much of tide pools. Whale urine, fish urine, otter urine, crab urine, all sucked up by the moon and deposited in these natural outhouses. Clownfish share a symbiotic relationship with sea anemones. The clownfish cleans the sea anemone. In exchange, the anemone sprays urine on the face of the clownfish. It's one fetishistic delight. Contrary to popular belief, sea urchins are not in fact animals. Indeed, they are not alive at all. They are simply the clumped together leavings of the ocean's denizens.
This is the Onion News Network.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. And you can take control of the airwaves here on this live Sunday edition of the program. More to talk about when it comes to Venezuela. On the way here tonight in the studio, by the way, it's Ian,
Kallen,
and Mark.
Plus, if you want to sleep well at night, you got to have a good pillow. And the best one that I've used is MyPillow. You can go to mypillow.com and get one for yourself. Mark, you have one of these as well.
Awesome.
We've both had ours for about a year now, I would say. And it's been great. If it wasn't great, I'd have gone back to my other pillow. But I love the MyPillow, and you can even wash it. You can put it in your washer and your dryer. It's also designed to fit to the shape of your body and hold your neck in the proper position. And it's guaranteed to last for 10 years. So they really do stand behind their products with a solid warranty. But not only that, they also have a money-back guarantee. So you've got 60 days to decide. And if you don't like it, you're probably going to decide relatively quickly. But yeah, you've got 60 days to make your decision. And if you don't like it, you can send it back to them, and they'll send you your purchase price back. So go and get 50% off, 50% off. By going to mypillow.com and using code FTL. That's code FTL, like Free Talk Live, to get the discount at mypillow.com. And we go to your phone calls and thoughts, where Mark is on the line in Atlantic City listening to WPG. Hello, Mark.
Hey, fellas. Hey, I just wanted to call in. realize that you guys talk about a lot of different subjects, and with healthcare at the forefront right now, I always wonder why, no one takes on the AMA to task as far as making it so difficult to become a physician in the United States.
We have. It's been a long time since we've covered it, but we did. We actually, a former co-host, Dr. Stephanie Murphy, she talked about this relatively regularly, as how they would throttle the amount of people who could get into medical school, thus throttling the amount of graduates, and thus throttling the amount of doctors. So yeah, that's absolutely done.
I think that would really, figure into the cost of medicine. And I just would really like to see, there's so many different ways to attack it. I really think that if it was government sponsored, if we said, hey, we're going to put a class through every month or every, and so that, because a lot of these young guys come out with giant debt, that makes it difficult unless your father was a doctor or you got, 2,400 on your boards or whatever, it's just about impossible. And it really shouldn't be. I don't think it's like that in every other country.
Yeah, what I'd like to see happen is to just kind of end that doctor oligopoly. Is that the right word? This sort of elite group of people where there's a limited amount that can possibly be in that category, even though a lot of nurses can do the exact same things that doctors can.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, they have often nurse practitioners or physicians practitioners or practitioners, as they call them, doing the work of doctors, and doctors just sort of oversee
they sign
them
off on it,
like
basically.
middle management.
Exactly. So very inefficient, very costly to the end user. And if we had a greater supply, then the price of the doctors would have to come down. And presumably the price of educating them would come down as well. If as many people who wanted to could become doctors, then that would be a good thing for consumers. It would mean the doctors might not make as much. Those who are in the market competing, they might have to take a little bit less in compensation because they are open to more competition. But that's ultimately a good thing. Competition is a good thing, not only for the consumers, but ultimately for the providers as well, because it encourages them to be the best provider that they possibly can. But unfortunately, as you pointed out, Mark, the AMA is well entrenched. That system is well entrenched, and it's fairly unlikely to change in the foreseeable future
in this country. All that's going to happen is that another country is going to, as other countries rise up to the United States' wealth levels, there's going to be competition, and they're just going to beat us for when it comes to doctors.
Yeah. Well, hey, thank you.
Thank you, Mark, for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. I mean, we could talk for an hour straight about, all the problems with the current healthcare system in the United States, and about how it's basically the government and their rules and these, groups that scratch the government's back and vice versa, like the AMA, that are keeping things the way they are, the status quo here. And, of course, the government isn't going to solve the problem that they created. So, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
And people, these people's lives we're talking about. So obviously people really care about this issue. And unfortunately, there are some people who believe, and wrongfully so, that the government needs to take care of people. So they look to the government on this particular issue. And so there's a big demand out there for government to, help people with health care, which means they get their tentacles in even further and make the situation worse and worse.
Well, the thing is when government begins to take care of people, and I don't like the terminology because it suggests that the government's any good at it. Here in the United States, we've got socialized medicine. You can take a look at prisons and the VA,
right,
and you can see how the government takes care of people. It's kind of like, hey, you're going to take care of you. That kind of take care. But, on the other hand, it suggests sort of domestication. What do you take care of your pets, your animals? Well, I'm not the government's pet, and if I don't have the
no,
freedom,
you're different from a pet. You produce for the government.
Well, yeah, I'm a livestock.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of people that are kept, if the government's taking care of you, you're closer to a pet, right?
Sure.
You're ready.
Yeah.
I might be the donkey out in the field pulling the plow.
You're the kept man.
But you're the dog in the house, laying there getting taken care of. Dogs tend to work. Some do, some don't. Mine cleans plates, basically.
You gotta stop that. He's fat.
What's that?
Your dog. You gotta stop letting him clean the plate.
Look, I didn't make her fat. My father-in-law kept her over the trip. Well, at the trip, and she just ballooned up. It's crazy.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, this is really the difference. Is the government? I'm not their pet. They don't get to take care of me. Thanks. I'd like to take care of myself. And if you won't let me take care of myself, what are you? Who are you in this whole scenario?
And even when they say care, that word can be subjective, because a lot of people who have served, they come back, that they hope to get the benefits that they were promised upon signing a contract, and they get nothing. You're talking
about the military guys?
Uh-huh. Yeah, they get nothing. Whether it's getting their tuition paid, whether it's getting health care, it's just that's care. They may get cared for, but it may take 6 months, a year, 2 years before they ever get the treatment that they were promised. But eventually the government does care for them,
and maybe it'll be the treatment that they wanted, or maybe they'll screw it up.
Yep.
I know there are plenty of veterans who do not have good experiences with the Veterans Administration and the doctors there, and there are some who have good experiences.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a mixed bag at best. Toll-free number tonight, if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE. Let's go to Chris. He's in Lake City, Mississippi. Are you listening out of near Tupelo, Chris?
Yes.
All right, so you're listening to WKMQ. Go ahead with your thoughts.
I was simply curious. You guys are libertarians, is that right?
Yes, sir.
I've never heard this before. I was just curious your thoughts on, or your guys' stance on the right-wing evangelicals and some of the people involved with Trump and their desire to completely demolish what was supposed to be the absolute separation between church and state. I was curious what you guys think about that. If you think that's a good thing.
Well, I guess I'm curious. I haven't seen the moves to separate the barrier between the church and the state on this, but I do think it's a strange marriage. Go ahead.
He just signed an executive order the other day saying that churches are going to go ahead and it's going to be okay for them to keep being considered nonprofit, but they can go ahead and have political speech on the pulpits now. If they're going to do that, if they want to do that, they need to be taxed.
To me, we call taxes here what they are. We call them theft. So I don't advocate ever for an organization to be stolen from, whether that or. Go ahead.
But does it bother you when you jump in your car and you go driving down the highway to a public park or something with your kid or whatever? Do you feel like you've been stolen from when you're doing that?
When I'm driving down the road or going to the public park?
Yeah, because the taxes is what funds those things.
Sure. I mean, so
I don't understand that.
This is it's relatively common for libertarians to get the conversation about if it wasn't for taxes, what about the roads? And I'd really like you to hold on.
Yeah, let's have this conversation. I know you're on the road, Chris, so if you can hang on, we're going to bring you back, okay?
Okay.
Stand by. We'll bring you back after the news, and we got time for you as well if you want to join us here. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733, Free Talk Live. You've said it yourself. We need a healthcare system that focuses on health, not sickness. Health insurance pays for treating sickness but gives you nothing for being healthy. There's a free market healthcare company that gives you freedom from health insurance. They give you a proactive health assessment daily, no charge 24-hour access to doctors. Check them out right now at healthexcellenceselect.com. Any kind of doctor, traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, and massage. You'll love the service and price. healthexcellenceselect.com. healthexcellenceselect.com.
Bitcoin.com recently reported Bitcoin transaction fees have increased by more than 1,200% since 2015. To many Bitcoin proponents, the current fee market is moving way too fast, making Bitcoin unusable for certain transactions. The fee market and slow confirmation times have also increased the tension concerning the block size debate. However, if there are wallets with low amounts of Bitcoin that can't cover the fees, they become virtually unspendable. Learn more at news.bitcoin.com. That's news.bitcoin.com.
How many lawyers does it take to change a light bulb? None. They'd rather keep their clients in the dark. There are too many lawyer jokes to count. However, there are some lawyers with more noble intentions. At the Institute for Justice, we bring the light to our clients. We are a non-profit public interest law firm with clear values and principles. At IJ, we fight for those whose most basic rights are denied by the government. Visit our website today at ij.org.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Gerald W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, May 7th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.35 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,228 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $1,545. Antiwar.com reports from U.S. officials familiar with the situation say that the Trump administration is working to push through billions of dollars in arms sales to Saudi Arabia in the next week or two, with an eye towards having the pacts finalized before Trump's visit to Riyadh later this month. Massive civilian death tolls in the Saudi war in Yemen have led some in Congress, as well as a number of human rights groups, to push the U.S. and Saudi Arabia's other arms dealers to cut back on certain sales related to the war for fear they involve the commission of war crimes. Former President Obama had willingly limited the sales a little bit at the very end of his administration, though President Trump has since moved to reverse that, insisting that it would repair the relationship damaged by the extremely limited moves by his predecessor to limit Saudi slaughter in Yemen. With the Saudis looking to spend even more on war and the Pentagon looking to join in on the Yemen attack, the Trump administration appears all too eager to look the other way of the matter of a few thousand civilians killed here or there, particularly if it means he can brag up billions in new sales during his upcoming visit. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports a federal appeals court overturned a lower court's decision to dismiss a California woman's lawsuit to have U.S. Airways' $15 bag fee refunded after they lost her luggage. While the $15 fee might seem paltry, the woman's lawyers have sought to turn the case into a class action lawsuit, which could put American Airlines, which took over U.S. Air, on the hook for returning millions in luggage fees for customers whose bags failed to arrive on time. Haley Hickok Huffman filed suit against U.S. Air to get her $15 back after the bag she checked failed to arrive on her flight from San Luis Obispo, California to Colorado Springs, Colorado in 2013. A district court judge dismissed the suit, saying the airline never promised to refund the fee as part of its written terms of service. Under the Federal Airlines Deregulation Act, the judge ruled airlines are only held to a best effort standard in delivering luggage. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system and to fully capitalize on that decision in their fundraising efforts. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. Reuters reports a former Texas policeman who has been charged with murder in the shooting of a teenager has left jail after posting bond, according to authorities on Saturday. Dallas County Sheriff's Department spokeswoman Melinda Urbina said in a text message that bond for former Balk Springs officer Roy Oliver was $300,000. According to the Parker County Sheriff's Office, just west of Dallas, and a jail official for the county, Oliver surrendered to authorities on Friday after a warrant was issued for his arrest on a charge of murder. He was released on bond the same day. Oliver was fired by the force of the suburban Dallas Police Department earlier in the week for policy violations. The shooting, which took place on April 29th in a primarily minority neighborhood in Balk Springs, about 15 miles southeast of Dallas, stoked simmering tensions over perceived racial bias in the U.S. policing. Balk Springs police have said Oliver and another officer were responding to a disturbance on that Saturday night and heard multiple gunshots. They came across a vehicle with teens and ordered it to stop, but the vehicle pulled away. Jordan Edwards, a high school student, described by his family and friends as a standout student and athlete, was struck by a bullet to the head and died. An attorney for the family has asked supporters to avoid holding any protest or vigils before the teen is laid to rest. Police body camera footage from the scene was reviewed before the department made its decision to fire Oliver. Police Chief Jonathan Haber told a news conference on Tuesday that the video contradicted an earlier version he gave of the incident, in which he said the car was in reverse and heading towards the officer. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Coming up a little later, the 10 best careers for someone at your level of attractiveness.
Oh, but right now we have something truly incredible for you. Kenneth Quinn is a real-life psychic medium who claims that he can communicate with dead acquaintances. He's written a new book. It's called Small Talk from Beyond, Speaking with Distant Relatives and Friends of Friends Who Have Passed.
Hi, Kenneth.
Good to see you. Now,
Thank
Kenneth,
you.
You've written that you're able to connect people with the spirits of their old college professors or roommates that they didn't really know that well. When did you realize that you had this gift?
Well, it was the day after my cousin's friend's wife's funeral. I was at home, and I suddenly felt a presence in the room with me, and I heard a voice say, "It's Vicky. Vicky Salchek, Dale's wife."
Wow.
We made a Tim's birthday thing a while back, and we talked about how hard it is having a cat.
Fascinating.
This has been so amazing.
This has been fabulous. Thank you, Kenneth Quinn, for being our guest. Stay with us, because coming up next, we're going to show you how to lose some of that excessive weight by constantly picking at your skin.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can bring up what you want right here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Kallen,
and Mark.
We're going to go back to your calls and thoughts. Thankfully, Chris was able to hold on the line here, listening outside of Tupelo in Mississippi to WKMQ. You're new to libertarianism, it sounded like, and you had some questions about a few different issues. Number one was kind of the separation of church and state, and then also you were talking about how taxes, you feel like they're kind of important because they pay for parks and things like that. But I don't want to put words in your mouth, so is that an appropriate kind of recap, Chris?
Well, I was curious what you guys thought about the desire of certain political elements to completely go against what the Founding Fathers intended. See, they lie these days. They say things like, oh, the Founding Fathers were all extremely Christian and all this, and 99% of their followers don't ever look any of that up. They just assume it's true. But when you read their writings, things like the United States absolutely has nothing to do with Christianity, things like that.
A lot of them were, you're right, that a lot of them were deists.
Christians.
That's correct, they were deists.
Yeah, they were products of the 18th century Enlightenment. They were not religious fanatics. And these people are warping and distorting history, quote mining, and it's just something that really irritates me.
Well, I think it's unfair to characterize.
Why so many people aren't more people who know better aren't more angry about that. I just don't get it.
I think it's unfair to characterize the founding fathers as a bunch of deists. I mean, the fact
Not
is,
all of them were.
I would say the majority of them were Christians, and a good percentage of them were preachers. Okay, so and they were all, by and large, socially conservative individuals. I don't think that's relevant.
Thomas Jefferson referred to the Bible as the dunghill.
Yeah, he did. But Thomas Jefferson was one of the founding fathers. Let's talk about Benjamin Franklin, also a deist.
Exactly.
So was Madison. He was a deist. I'm just saying there's a lot of people that signed that voted for the Constitution and signed the Declaration of Independence that were Christians. So to say, to pick your favorite founding fathers and say they're all deists is just
He didn't say
unfair.
that. He didn't say they were all deists.
And that's
I
why
did not say they were all deists. I said this. There, a lot of them, as I understand it, were. But it doesn't matter whether they were or they weren't. It doesn't matter what it doesn't matter what percentage of them were, because they were all in agreement with the idea that there should be religious freedom in the United States.
But what religious freedom looked like to them was different than it looks today. So religious freedom meant the government of the United States couldn't tell Catholic Maryland how to run things. Because I can tell you Puritan Massachusetts, by and large, had all kinds of religious laws at the time. So what it meant, freedom of religion meant, was the United States government itself, the centralized government, didn't tell these states, which had all kinds of religious laws, what to do. Now, that's constitutional law. I think it's irrelevant.
But there's also the federal government's also there for when the states step over a certain line, and the federal government steps in and says, you can't do that.
I think that's the role that it has taken. But I mean, what the federal government was. If we want to talk constitutions, then we can talk the Constitution. If you want to talk about what my beliefs are regarding the federal government's, when it comes to religion, that's a different story entirely. So what I believe when it comes to religion is that the federal government should take no stance whatsoever, but that individuals can have their religious freedoms that they want. So, and I believe that you can start your own business. And if you want to start a business that caters to a particular religion and has particular religious values, then you should be able to do that. So if you want to start Chick-fil-A and say, we're not hiring gay folks and we're going to close on Sundays and, we're whatever.
But on the other hand, the government shouldn't be forcing one religion down anyone else's throats. The government shouldn't be promoting one religion over any other religion. And the government needs to stay out of that entirely, in my opinion. But to get back to your original question, Chris, which was about this Trump signing of some kind of an executive order, Daryl actually shared a link with me that he had in his show prep. We didn't get to talk about it a couple nights ago, so I'm gonna just kind of briefly sum it up here. The ACLU, according to thehill.com, is now reversing course, saying that they will not be filing a lawsuit challenging the executive order that Trump signed on these religious political exemptions. ACLU Director Anthony Romero said in a statement, quote, "Today's executive order signing was an elaborate photo op with no discernible policy outcome." He says, after careful review of the order's text, we've determined the order does not meaningfully alter the ability of religious institutions or individuals to intervene in the political process. The order portends, but does not yet do harm to the provision of reproductive health services. So basically, Trump signed a dead letter. He didn't actually really change anything, according to the ACLU, and they certainly know their stuff when it comes to the law.
Yeah, I don't go home. I drive a truck on the road. I don't go home very often, but when I do, I usually have packets there from like the ACLU, the Southern Poverty Law Center, the Freedom from Religion Foundation. I keep up with all their newsletters and stuff, so that I'm sure there will be some things about that in there.
Now, I'd like to also further clarify. Before you go on with the other thing, I'd like to further clarify this issue, because the show is put on by the Shire Free Church, and it's an interfaith church. There are people of all faiths welcome, so long as they are peaceful in the Shire Free Church, and that's kind of what's behind this program. We are not 501c3. And so that is the political designation that a lot of churches have gone out to get. And
but we don't advocate for particular politicians. We can.
That's the thing you don't understand.
We can
Mark.
do whatever we want.
That's the thing. That's what I was trying to clarify here. Is that I've advocated for Ron Paul, but anyway,
it's been a long time.
it doesn't matter. You advocated for Gary Johnson, didn't you?
I said that I was going to vote for him.
Whatever. What's the difference? Anyway, the point is the 501c3 is what prohibits religious organizations who seek that designation from doing what you were talking about, which is promoting some sort of issue or politician. And so I'm going to just put you on hold since there's a little bit of noise coming from the line. But the misconception is that churches have to get 501c3 in order to be tax deductible. That's not true. I'm really not sure why it is that any church gets 501c3 besides the fact that they believe they have to, and that's probably because lawyers have been telling them that they have to because the lawyer wants to get hired to hold their hand through the paperwork process.
Make money off of the fees.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. You hire the attorney, he takes care of everything for you, that kind of thing. But you don't need to. If you want to donate to the Shire Free Church, you just donate to the Shire Free Church, and you can do whatever. Is it a deduction or a write-off? I don't know. I don't do taxes, so I have no idea what it is. But whatever that thing is that people are looking for, is it a deduction, Mark? What is it? What do they call that?
Deductions, write-offs.
Yeah. If you donate to a charity, it's called
write-off.
a write-off. Okay.
Yeah. Take as a deduction.
Yeah. So they're looking for that. You can do that with a church that is not 501c3. And if you're not 501c3, then you haven't asked the government for permission for anything. You haven't gone into this agreement with them, so you're not subject to all of these rules in the first place. So my point is here that we can say anything we want to. We don't have those restrictions on us because we never asked the government for the privilege of being 501c3, which, again, I don't know why anyone would. So, Chris, any other thoughts you want to share?
Yeah, one more thing. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we got you.
I stopped driving.
That's okay.
Okay. Maybe you can, because I'm a pretty reasonable person. I'm a pretty moderate person. I don't toe a party line one way or the other. I don't, left or right. I'm kind of in the middle.
Okay.
But my understanding of libertarianism, and this seems to be what would wind up happening if it was completely successful in the United States. Like, I feel like it appeals to the average construction worker's baser urges, things like, oh, I'll be able to smoke pot legally and go down and see prostitutes or whatever, and that'll be great. But I feel like what would happen is I feel that libertarianism underestimates the greed and the sociopathy of the corporations in this country. And what would wind up happening without regulations would be the same as it was before labor laws came into being, when they had 9-year-old kids working 14 hours a day in a coal-powered furnace in the bottom of a factory or plant somewhere, shoveling coal into the fire all day.
I think people fear that greatly.
That's an interesting question, and I'm going to let you go, but we're going to address that when we return. And I'd love to invite you to call again any other night in the future, whether we're on WKMQ or not, because I think they only have us on weekend nights there. We're on 7 nights a week. So if you want to continue this conversation.
I'm all over the country, so do you guys have a website?
We're coming up here in moments. We do.
Need a website for your blog or new business? It can be pretty intimidating on your own, and that's why Free Talk Live has partnered with HostGator, one of the top hosting companies. HostGator offers a simple one-click, easy installation for WordPress, 24/7 over the phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive, user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation back into your hands. Go to HostGator.com/FTL and you'll get 50% off of their regular hosting prices. 50% off. HostGator.com/FTL. DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
Will the government protect your family from Iran and North Korea's newest weapon, EMP? We buy guns to protect ourselves, home, health, and car insurance for accidents. Maybe you also have food storage. But how would you keep your refrigerator running in a long-term EMP blackout? Using tested military designs, the Solarc EMP-hardened solar generator protects and powers your critical appliances for years without burying items underground or wrapping them in aluminum foil. Unlike other preps, Solarc is used every day to help offset your electric bill automatically. Visit PortableSolarLLC.com to learn Learn how easily expandable the system is. Solarc is the most affordable and powerful solution on the market. The whole system even fits in the back of a pickup or SUV and can install in less than an hour. See for yourself why Solarc beats other off-grid systems at portablesolarllc.com. Don't wait for the government. Go to portablesolarllc.com to learn why Solarc is energy insurance for your family.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free. Bring up anything you want. Live Sunday edition of the program. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And we do have Skype. So Skype on in here at username LRN.FM. Tonight, it's Ian.
Kallen.
And Mark.
As we continue, I do want to let you know about Bitcoin.com. It's the most unique online destination in the Bitcoin universe. Whether you're buying Bitcoin, you can do it there, or maybe you want to talk to other Bitcoin users. They've got a forum, and it's always open and censorship-free. You go to forum.bitcoin.com, and you can check that out there. There also is the games section where you can actually play games with your Bitcoin. That's games.bitcoin.com. You can learn more. That's a one-stop shop for everything you need to get into Bitcoin life. And there are no bigger Bitcoin believers than the Bitcoin.com team. Learn more at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com. As we continue here, our last caller was on the road, sounded like a professional driver, and wanted to know what our website was, but we were up against the clock at the end of the last segment. Didn't have time to spit that out. It's freetalklive.com. So for anybody that, if you're listening in your local area and you don't hear us all 7 nights a week, if you're listening on the radio as he was, then you can always download the podcast. You can always listen live or listen delay broadcast on our website anytime, 24/7 at freetalklive.com. So feel free to tune in there. And like I said to him, would love to hear from you again, whether you're listening live or not, whether you're driving where there's a radio signal that carries us or not. that was a good conversation.
Right.
And
I mean, that's what, for me, Free Talk Live is all about.
Yeah.
Taking the basic questions and trying to answer them from a libertarian standpoint.
And the only reason I cut it short was because we got some other folks waiting patiently here, and so I want to get to them. But I'm not going to forget about this. He did ask about the greed of the corporations and eliminating regulations, so let's get into that.
But you mentioned freetalklive.com, right?
Yeah, yeah. But I want to get into it. We'll answer his question here in a moment, but I want to get Jeremy on the line. He's also been listening in Bowling Green to WKCT.
Hey, Jeremy.
Jeremy?
Victoria!
Huh? What? I don't know what.
Guy waited for that?
Yeah, he was saying something there, but he was potted down, it sounded like, at the beginning of the call. So whatever the first 3 words were.
Something tore me up, maybe?
I don't know. Something Atoria. I don't know what that was. But, okay, well, glad I went to that call. So we'll continue with your calls here in a moment. But let's address the question that he'd asked.
Yeah,
about the greedy corporations, lack of regulations in a libertarian utopia.
In a libertarian world, corporations will take over.
Yeah, libertarianism is essentially, a small government, a bare bones government, and really minimizing regulations. It's not really eliminating all regulations. It's just kind of minimizing it to making it easier for business.
Well, I would get rid of the government entirely.
I agree with you.
Because to me, that's what the ultimate principle behind libertarianism is.
Yeah.
The principle being the non-aggression principle that says you shouldn't use the threat of or actual force to achieve your political or social goals. So if your goal is to have a shorter work week, or your goal is to have air conditioning in the workplace, or your goal is to not have children working, or whatever it is that is important to you, that you should be able to accomplish that goal without threatening people, without saying, well, you either do this or else we're going to come shut your business down, or we're going to come, men with guns are going to hurt you, or whatever. And so that is the complete lack of regulations. However, what libertarians would point out, or should point out, now whether you're talking to a libertarian who knows how to express his ideas is another question, because a lot of them are quite autistic. But the answer to ending government regulation isn't some sort of crazy free-for-all. It's the market would come up with regulations, sort of voluntary certifications and controls that market actors would choose to be regulated, basically, rather than being forced to be by the government. So a great example of this is, of course, like Underwriters Laboratories, which is a company that a lot of other companies will hire to test their products to make sure that they're safe, for instance. And then if they are safe, they put that Underwriters Laboratories logo, which you've probably seen. Just take your toaster and look on the bottom or wherever, and you'll see the UL logo. If you don't see the UL logo, you probably bought that toaster at some questionable, large lots store or something like that, where, they got some lot of toasters that was made by a company that couldn't get Underwriters Laboratories certification or didn't want to pay for it. And then, maybe the wires are crossed inside and it'll start a fire, and, good luck. That's why you're getting a discount on it, right?
Well,
so
I think it also
take your own risk.
Bears pointing out that corporations are government creations.
Yes, governments are corporations as well.
And I would agree with you, Kallen, that libertarian is a broad umbrella that covers people who believe in a small government for a variety of different tasks. They could never quite agree on exactly what those tasks should be. But to me, that's the danger of government generally, is that I'm small government except this issue, whatever that issue might be. Everybody thinks the government's too big. It's just they can't agree in what area it's too big. So for me, I believe if a service is worth having, that the marketplace will provide that service. So I'm against a monopolistic government that claims dominion over you just because you were born in a given landmass. To me, that's a horrifying concept, and that's what we've got. So a corporation is simply people that are well connected going to the government, paying an amount of money in order to not be responsible for certain actions that they take.
Yep, that's true.
I don't see.
They're buddy with the state.
I don't see how that would necessarily exist in a real free market.
I think that's an important point, because yes, there would still be businesses, and yes, some of those businesses would be better or more successful or possibly larger than others. But today, the big mega corporations have the government in their pocket, and so they're always scratching the back of the government, and the government's scratching their back. Every now and then it looks like the government's going after them, but ultimately those regulations are, in a lot of cases, written by the big corporations. Like the cigarette regulations that came out several years back were written by Philip Morris, you know? And so that's because they can afford to jump through those hoops that they are creating for themselves, but they know their smaller competitors can't afford it. Another great example was the CPSC and their toy regulations that, was it lead testing?
Yep.
Yeah, lead testing mandates that would have cost like $1,000 per product for any producer to go through, which of course $1,000 for somebody that's making home-based toys that, you know, for some small business is cost prohibitive, but for Hasbro or Mattel it's nothing. It costs them nothing. And so it made it much more difficult for the little companies to compete. And so if you take away those regulations, which again are a lot of times written by the mega corporations, then you want to talk about evening out the playing field. At the very least, then you have fairness in the marketplace because those other companies are free to compete without having to jump through all of these government hoops that in a lot of cases can put them out of business. And of course, the smaller companies can usually compete on customer service. They can compete on quality. They can compete on different options for their customers that the big companies just can't do.
I've heard
that's what initially happened on the onset with Airbnb. You know, initially they kind of entered the market being unregulated, and kind of the reason why they grew so quickly because they were not being regulated. They were not being held accountable.
And then the government came in with regulations, and now you got Airbnb. You know, they're kind of helping the government write those regulations, as I understand it.
Unfortunately.
855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. We got more coming up.
The answer to being in control of your own healthcare is freedom from insurance. Become part of a group of self-pay patients that come together to share in each other's medical expenses. Individual share amounts begin at $107 a month and $347 for families. Choose from 3 health-sharing programs. Holistic treatments may be eligible for sharing. See guidelines. Discount programs available for dental, vision, and pharmacy. Go to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
Fact. The new NSA data center in Utah requires 1.7 million gallons of water every single day to operate. Billions of Fourth Amendment violations need massive computers and the water to cool them. That water is being supplied by the state of Utah. Fact. There's absolutely nothing in the Constitution which requires your state to help the feds violate your rights. Our message to Utah: turn it off. No water equals no NSA data center. Visit offnow.org.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Morsels, helping you create special moments and memories your family will cherish forever. Visit us at tollhouse.com. You may bake for birthdays and holidays, but why stop there? Sweeten up the rest of the year by designating monthly dessert days. Treat your family to one of their favorites or surprise them with something new. Either way, you'll create a tradition everyone will love. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Yep, it's Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free, bring up anything that you want. Live Sunday edition of the program. You can get in here toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. If you got stuff you need to buy online and you like to shop through Amazon, then we would like to invite you to shop through our affiliate link. So Free Talk Live can get a portion of the purchase price. You still pay the same price that you normally would pay. You're getting the same great deal, the same products that you would buy, same reviews, same everything. You're just entering through our affiliate link, so Free Talk Live gets credit for the purchase, which means that we get a portion of the sale. So in order to help us out, just go to shop.freetalklive.com. There are Amazon links there for Amazon US, Amazon Canada, and Amazon UK. So you just go and get your shopping done at the Amazon that's right for you, and then Free Talk Live will benefit from that. So it's really simple, and it helps us out a lot. Please go to shop.freetalklive.com to do that. That's shop.freetalklive.com. Just a few more thoughts, and then we're going to go back to your calls and thoughts about whatever is on your mind. Ian, Kallen, and Mark in the studio here tonight. We were talking about corporations. We had a caller on the line concerned that in a libertarian utopia, libertarian America, that there'd be no regulations, and so therefore corporations would just destroy everything. They would abuse people that work for them. They would, destroy the environment. They would, so on and so forth. But of course, if you look, by the way, at the environment, a lot of the times when you see destruction of the environment, it's actually a corporation who's working with the government, where they're working on like government-managed land, and the government allows them to, let's say, come in and clear cut the land. That happens.
Yeah.
But if the company owns the land, they're more likely to replant trees on it and make sure to have different crops of trees at different portions to where there's always some that are growing and there's some that are fully grown and they're ready to be cut. Mm-hmm. Some that are just being planted, cycling through. They have the incentive to take care of the property better if they actually own the property rather than if they're just some sort of short-term leaser who can just go in there and strip mine it or clear cut it. So it's actually having the government having control over property that has put a lot of it in grave danger. Mm-hmm. In addition, the regulations we were talking about, many of those are written by the mega corporations for the benefit of the mega corporations and to help protect them from upstarts and competitors. Mm-hmm. Another great example, you touched on Airbnb, Kallen, but also look at the ride industry, the ride sharing like Uber and Lyft. Who like Airbnb are now writing the regulations, so they've gotten so big that now they've become what they hate. and they are the market dominators. They're trying to keep the other upstarts out now from the ride sharing business. But in the beginning days, they were the ones who were the plucky innovators, and they're coming into the market and they're taking market share away from the old taxi cab companies, who forever have been regulated to death by the government. But they've been so regulated that they felt comfortable. They felt like they were protected, and they were. For many decades. The taxi cab industry was protected from competition by the regulations, particularly taxi medallions, as they're called in a lot of cities. Like New York City is probably one of the more renowned places or infamous places where medallions at one point became worth more than $1 million per medallion, which is crazy. It's much less now. The price of the medallion has gone down dramatically on the secondary market because Uber and Lyft are in town, and they're providing competition.
And it's the same with bed and breakfast inns. They were protected by the regulations. I stayed at several bed and breakfast inns, and they talked about the challenges of trying to compete with Airbnb. The fact that they had to go through inspections, they had to go through all these other things to be able to be in business.
It raises their costs.
Yeah, and as a result, a lot of the brick and mortar bed and breakfast inns have started to sell their rooms on Airbnb because they figure, why should I keep paying taxes if I can just still be in business on Airbnb?
Well, that's only going to work to a point because they're already on the books. So the government's going to be like, well, where's our payment? And they're going to show up, and they're going to, and the governments are now investigating Airbnb. And
But
there are
Sarasota, our hometown, has already just basically been taxing Airbnb locations.
Yeah, I think that's
the
by
crackdown started.
Yeah, but I don't think, but it's not federal yet. It's by like municipality or
it's
state.
It's state.
Yeah.
But you're right. I've sat in the hearings for like what they call. I forget if they've got a term for the sharing of rooms, but like with Uber and Lyft, they call them transportation network companies. This is the new legalese term for the ride sharing companies. So I'm sure they've come up with some sort of term like that for Airbnb. But I've been in the hearings in Concord where they've talked about these regulations that they're working on passing, and I've seen the bed and breakfast owner come in there. One of them, she'll come in and she'll talk to the committee, and she'll say how hard her life is because of the government, and she wants the life of these other companies to be just as hard. Now, of course, that's the wrong position. The right position is, hey, no one should have to put up with this crap. No one should have to jump through these hoops. Nobody who's running a bed and breakfast wants to have the place catch on fire or whatever. So let's let the insurance companies provide the regulations. Let's let them provide the standards, because most people who are running a business probably want to have insurance to protect them from liability. And so they're going to go to an insurance company, and the insurance company is going to say, yeah, sure, we'll give you insurance. We're just going to send an inspector down. He's going to check the place out, make sure that you're up to fire code or whatever. And then all of that is voluntary at that point. It's still regulatory, if you will, but it just doesn't involve government. It's still providing a set of standards that the industry, in this case the insurance industry, would agree is acceptable to do business.
It's providing governance without the state,
without the mandate. So if you want to open some sort of ramshackle,
this is why I say all the time, I'm not against government. I'm against the state, and the state is an organization that claims a monopoly privilege over a given landmass.
If I want to open up, if I've got a tree house in my backyard that is obviously dangerous, right? Like you fall asleep in the tree house, you could roll right out the door and fall. There's risks involved there. There's no fire protection whatsoever. It's just a wooden treehouse. But if I want to rent that out to somebody, I should be able to do that. And if that person understands that there might be some risk involved in sleeping in this treehouse, and they're willing to accept that risk, as long as they go ahead, sign this disclaimer saying you're not going to sue me if you fall out of the treehouse, then done deal. Let the buyer beware. Let caveat emptor. That's what I think that's what the libertarians would say, is the marketplace will provide the safety. The marketplace will provide the regulations. And let's go back real quick to the kid, because that one specific answer or one objection that our caller brought up was the 9-year-old working in a dangerous factory environment.
Yeah.
Now, what would a libertarian say to that one?
Well, I would say to that the 9-year-olds are working in dangerous factory environments already. It's just the United States has outsourced it. The United States has but bam, when you go to Walmart and you buy that plastic crap, but bam, you are supporting child labor, because the fact of the matter is that in less developed economies, kids need to work. Here,
they ought to work here too, as far as I'm concerned.
You can keep them infantilized until they're 30 years old, living in the basement, making dank memes or whatever the hell they're doing down there. That's fine, but don't act like you're some kind of glorious saint. No, I mean, I started working at 12 years old. Admittedly, it was a comic book store.
I worked at my mom's shop younger than that.
I was bagging groceries for tips.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a good thing. You learn more at work than you do at school, quite frankly.
But he gave the example of factory labor, the dangerous factories, eating little kids' arms and things like that.
Factory, it's laughable. Okay, the United States is producing more in factories than it's ever produced in its history. And it has far fewer jobs. Why? Because they're robots. How many 9-year-olds are going to be able to run a assembly line robot? Okay? I mean, you could hearken back to times in the past, but the fact is that you've got child labor right now in the United States. It's just that it's only in acting and in farming. So it doesn't seem to be a problem to bring the immigrants in to work at 9 years old to pick your tomatoes.
I've seen kids doing newspaper routes, too. I think they're still allowed to do that.
Almost never.
We're coming up here, 8:55. 450 free.
Have you ever thought you'd like to flip houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? Are you ready to be your own boss so you can start living the good life? Hi, I'm Preston Ely. I used to be so broke. I had my electricity turned off 9 times, but I figured out a way to quit my job and find financial freedom in real estate. For a limited time, I want to send you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It shows you how to copy exactly what I did so you can make money from the comfort of your own home without even doing any manual labor. I've already given away 5,000 books and they're going fast. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-958-9256. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. It's short, fun to read, easy to understand, and awesome. To find out how to get your free book while supplies last, call 1-800-958-9256. Call 1-800-958-9256. 1-800-958-9256.
Hi there, I'm Bob Eubanks. You know, as part of Hollywood for a long time, I've seen my fair share of celebrities get in trouble with the IRS. Well, there's one name I trust, the Tax Defense Group. They're the most trusted name in tax. So if you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS, you really need to call my friends at the Tax Defense Group. Ignoring the IRS is not the solution. They can garnish your paycheck, levy your bank accounts, seize your home or business. But the Tax Defense Group could put a stop to all of that and tailor a program that would reduce your tax debt to pennies on the dollar. You gotta love that. So don't just take my word for it. Call them. Find out for yourself. They offer a 100% satisfaction guarantee. And they're open 24 hours a day because they know that tax debt doesn't sleep either.
Call now for your free and confidential tax analysis from the most trusted name in tax. Call 800-361-6907. 800-361-6907.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want. Just dial in toll free and join us here. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. So Skype on in here at username LRN.FM. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Kallen,
and Mark.
We're going to continue with your calls and thoughts. Let's go to the phones. Actually, in this case, to Skype, where Ian in China is on the line. Hello, Ian.
Hello, I'm no longer in China.
Oh, it sounds like you're no longer in China because you sound terrible. What are you on tonight? Your cell phone?
I'm on my tablet.
Ugh, we're gonna have to say no on this one, Ian. I'm sorry. You're welcome to try a different time, but that is just I don't want to listen to that. Sorry. So if you ever want, by the way, just quick Skype tip, and that's my fault. I didn't screen his call because normally he sounds fine, so I didn't think I needed to. Skype tip for you: whenever you install Skype, there's a default call that you can make to Skype Echo Test Service or Echo Test Service. Just call that up, and it's it's a nice British lady who says, "Welcome to Skype, talk to me," or whatever, and then you just talk for 20 seconds, and then she plays you back what she heard you say. So then you can listen to yourself and make sure that you sound good, you sound clear, and that way you can kind of help us a little bit before you call in, just do a quick sound check on your own. So our Skype username, if you want to join us here, is LRN.FM. In fact, we're going to try a different person on Skype. This time we're going to go to David. David is in New Mexico, and you're on Skype on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, tying into things that you were discussing tonight, and then yesterday night with Lynn, is it Ulbricht?
Lynn Ulbricht, yes, the mother of Ross Ulbricht, the creator of the Silk Road, who is currently in prison, Ross is, that is, for the rest of his life.
Yeah. First of all, just a side comment. I remember as a kid on the farm, we had 9-year-olds operating $500,000 pieces of farm machinery.
Yeah, I probably learned to drive my dad's tractor at about 9, 10, somewhere in there, 11 maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Some long days. Anyway, first of all, under the context that I meet the definition of a whistleblower, and I say that because people, in the things that I deal with in law, I have been retaliated against in the form of criminal and tort things done to me, and I intend to take those people to task in the various venues available to me in the future. And so if people are hearing me discuss things, I want them to know that I do meet the definition of a whistleblower and invoke those protections, and am willing to fight as such. Anyway, yesterday we were talking her case with her son. We were talking about that there are many cases that have lots of similarities. In fact, in the last 10 years I've been dealing with this, it seems like there are a lot of cases that are essentially the same case. It's just the facts change, the subject matter changes, but the way that you are treated by the court, there are parallel similarities. And for instance, one thing that had happened in her case, and you can help me with this if I stumble on the words, please. They dragged Ross into court on why don't you explain it, please, for a second? The trumped up thing that actually wasn't so, that they hooked him with, the solicitation of murder or whatever it was, and then when they got him. Yeah, and then when they got him into court, they didn't actually pursue that. They pursued something else. They
didn't. Just to clarify, they never charged him with the murder allegations. They just tarred him with it. So when they arrested him for running the Silk Road, and then every time they talked about him, they talked about these murder allegations just to make him sound like he was some sort of badass drug kingpin or something like that, ordering hits on people.
But apparently the United States government's prosecutorial staff is so incompetent that they can't bring a murderer to trial anywhere at all. And what they have to do is they have to go after him for running a website and give him 2 life sentences for it. I mean, I would kind of feel as a taxpayer that they've let me down here.
He would have gotten less time for a murder.
Could very well have.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they've not only let you down, they actually have abused you, Mark. It's an abuse of you, since you're paying the bill as a taxpayer, as we all are. You're funding what they're doing, and so they're abusing the money that they've taken from you and everybody else, which is your labor. So they're abusing your actual labor. If I'm sure you follow me, I'm not really saying it well, but and so. But to take what you just said and tie it back into what I was saying, often what I see courts do, and what they did to me on several different occasions, is they will use, the court has to have jurisdiction. They can't just decide. They can't just sit down. Actually they do, but theoretically they can't decide. Okay, let's go target David today, and what shall we? We have to have a reason to target him. So jurisdiction. They can't just decide we're going to go target Dave today and go get him and drag him into court and then extract money from him or imprison him or whatever. They have to have a legal reason, which they call jurisdiction. And you can actually, if you sit in a courtroom, you can actually see when you get to that phase, when a judge is speaking from the bench, they'll say we're here today on matter, they're on the record. They say, well, we're here today on matter whatever. And then they'll lay out their jurisdiction, the reason, what gives them lawful jurisdiction to control your life. They'll read it out for the record, covering their behind, should anybody ever question the legality of them being dragged into the court in the first place. Here, and often what happens is they'll drag you into court on one thing, which they claim gives that jurisdiction to drag you in court, and then all of a sudden you find out that they no longer really pursue this anymore. Instead, they pursue something else, which was actually their true desire to pursue in the first place. It's just that
like a bait and switch.
They couldn't. The secondary item, which is actually what they're interested in, doesn't give them the jurisdiction to drag you into court in the first place. And so they trump up something that if they actually did have the evidence to drag you into court, does give them the jurisdiction. But because they don't have the evidence, they don't have the facts don't support it, the law doesn't support it, they let, once they got you into court, then they kind of just forget about that and pursue other issues.
In Ross's case, they never actually pursued the charges of the murder for hire, but they were tarnishing him with it throughout the case in front of the jury, and it was just outrageous. David, thanks for the call. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. They did it to damage whatever level of reputation he could have had with that jury, and it seemed to have been successful.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did, and they did it with, I think, to damage his reputation with everyone. He did,
including a lot of his supporters who, it's one thing. I'm
disturbed by it.
Right. Well, it's one thing to.
They never showed any proof.
Right. It's one thing to support somebody for running an underground marketplace, which I do. But obviously I don't support murder, so a lot of people presumed the government was telling the truth, which of course you should never do, and they just wrote him off because of that. When they otherwise would have supported him, they otherwise would have given him money perhaps for his legal defense, but because they tarnished him with these murder for hire allegations, a lot of people who otherwise would have supported him actually took the government's word for it and kicked him under the bus or to the curb, and he didn't get the support that he could have because of that. So it was total success from their perspective.
It's so sad that people can't think for themselves. You know, it's like they sit in front of a TV.
Well, it's easy to let the authorities do the thinking for you. It's a lot easier. I mean, the police are saying he tried to murder somebody, so it must be true. Even though there's plenty of evidence the cops lie, even though that in this case we found out that the cops weren't even just lying, they were actually stealing as well. You know, 2 of the federal agents, 1 Secret Service agent and 1 DEA agent, have gone to federal prison. They took guilty pleas because they got caught red-handed stealing Bitcoin from the Silk Road.
Yep, and they're in jail now.
They're in prison.
They're in prison right now because of their actions. And in any other case, I think that would have just nullified the ruling. But they waited to prosecute these people, and they lied to the jury in the process.
Yep, it's an outrage. Now, if you missed our interview with Lynn Ulbricht, that was the entire first hour of the show last night, so you can always go to freetalklive.com, and you can download our archives at your leisure. You can subscribe to the podcast. If you want to actually subscribe to our RSS feed or iTunes or whatever, just go to feeds.freetalklive.com. There's actually several breakdowns of the different options that we have there, which include our full show. It includes the Edgington Posts, which is your show, Mark, that you do, kind of an online podcast-only show, and a few different configurations of like our full feed, which has everything in it, or you can do a feed that just has our show, or there's the digest-only feed, which is something that one of our listeners, Riley, does out in Utah. He makes a daily digest of Free Talk Live up, which is awesome. So you can get all those. Go to feeds.freetalklive.com, and there's more coming up here. This is Free Talk Live, Hour 3, on the way.
A funny thing happens when you don't advertise. Nothing. Modern advertisers have been trained to look for trackability in their advertising, and web search ads are great for that. They also help you get the consumer that's looking for products like yours in the moment. But they're expensive, and they do nothing to convince people to try your product segment in the first place. If you're a local advertiser, contact this station. If you can use national exposure, Free Talk Live's on more than 150 stations, and we can help advertisers with little budgets and big ones. Send me an email, mark@freetalklive.com. It's mark@freetalklive.com.
Bitcoin.com is the most unique online destination in the Bitcoin universe. Buying Bitcoin? Do it here. Want to speak your mind to other Bitcoin users? Our forum is always open and censorship free at forum.bitcoin.com. There's no bigger Bitcoin believers than the Bitcoin.com team. That's why this site is a one-stop shop for everything you need to get into Bitcoin life. You can also play games at games.bitcoin.com. Learn more at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, May 7th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.35 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,228 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $1,545. Antiwar.com reports from U.S. officials familiar with the situation say that the Trump administration is working to push through billions of dollars in arms sales to Saudi Arabia in the next week or two, with an eye towards having the pacts finalized before Trump's visit to Riyadh later this month. Massive civilian death tolls in the Saudi war in Yemen have led some in Congress, as well as a number of human rights groups, to push the U.S. and Saudi Arabia's other arms dealers to cut back on certain sales related to the war for fear they involve the commission of war crimes. Former President President Obama had willingly limited the sales a little bit at the very end of his administration, though President Trump has since moved to reverse that, insisting that it would repair the relationship damaged by the extremely limited moves by his predecessor to limit Saudi slaughter in Yemen. With the Saudis looking to spend even more on war and the Pentagon looking to join in on the Yemen attack, the Trump administration appears all too eager to look the other way of the matter of a few thousand civilians killed here or there, particularly if it means he can brag up billions in new sales during his upcoming visit. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports a federal appeals court overturned a lower court's decision to dismiss a California woman's lawsuit to have U.S. Airways' $15 bag fee refunded after they lost her luggage. While the $15 fee might seem paltry, the woman's lawyers have sought to turn the case into a class action lawsuit, which could put American Airlines, which took over U.S. Air, on the hook for returning millions in luggage fees for customers whose bags failed to arrive on time. Haley Hickok Huffman filed suit against U.S. Air to get her $15 back after the bag she checked failed to arrive on her flight from San Luis Obispo, California to Colorado Springs, Colorado in 2013. A district court judge dismissed the suit, saying the airline never promised to refund the fee as part of its written terms of service. Under the Federal Airlines Deregulation Act, the judge ruled airlines are only held to a best effort standard in delivering luggage. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system and to fully capitalize on that decision in their fundraising efforts. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. Reuters reports a former Texas policeman who has been charged with murder in the shooting of a teenager has left jail after posting bond, according to authorities on Saturday. Dallas County Sheriff's Department spokeswoman Melinda Urbina said in a text message that bond for former Balk Springs officer Roy Oliver was $300,000. According to the Parker County Sheriff's Office, just west of Dallas, and a jail official for the county, Oliver surrendered to authorities on Friday after a warrant was issued for his arrest on a charge of murder. He was released on bond the same day. Oliver was fired by the force of the suburban Dallas Police Department earlier in the week for policy violations. The shooting, which took place on April 29th in a primarily minority neighborhood in Balk Springs, about 15 miles southeast of Dallas, stoked simmering tensions over perceived racial bias in the U.S. policing. Balk Springs police have said Oliver and another officer were responding to a disturbance on that Saturday night and heard multiple gunshots. They came across a vehicle with teens and ordered it to stop, but the vehicle pulled away. Jordan Edwards, a high school student described by his family and friends as a standout student and athlete, was struck by a bullet to the head and died. An attorney for the family has asked supporters to avoid holding any protest or vigils before the teen is laid to rest. Police body camera footage from the scene was reviewed before the department made its decision to fire Oliver. Police Chief Jonathan Haber told a news conference on Tuesday that the video contradicted an earlier version he gave of the incident, in which he said the car was in reverse and heading towards the officer. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
You are nothing more than the reflection of a grim, pitiless world, and this is The Onion Week in Review. Following the Supreme Court's ruling on same-sex marriage this week, overjoyed gay couples in Florida rushed out of their homes to have their marriages denied to them. Homosexual couples throughout the southern state told reporters they were ecstatic over the landmark decision supporting gay rights and said they couldn't wait to wait in line and have their requests to be wed rejected by their home state. And in science news, scientists probably discovered a frog or something. They're always doing that sort of shit. In other news, an 8-year-old boy surprises his Marine father during a firefight in Afghanistan. Johnny Depp is now physically unable to walk unless whimsically teeter-tottering across a rolling log, wobbly plank, or swaying beam. And Silvio Berlusconi is transferred to a steamy, all-female penitentiary. If you're seeking a celebrity interview, stay away from that bastard Tobey Maguire, who apparently can't even pick up a phone to say he has a schedule conflict and won't be able to make it into the studio. For more, keep checking theonion.com.
is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You can dial on in toll-free here and bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and the Skype username is LRN.FM. With you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian,
Kallen,
and Mark.
As we continue with your calls and thoughts, we barely touched on Venezuela at the very beginning of the show, and then we've just been loaded up with calls, which is great. That's fine. That's the way we like Free Talk Live. But we're going to get back into Venezuela here in a little bit on this live Sunday edition. Toll-free number again for you to take control of the airwaves and bring up what you want. 855-450-FREE. That's free like freedom. 855-450-FREE. As we go to the phones, to the fun, Ben is in Canada on the amp lines. Hey, Ben.
Hi, I'm a new amplifier, and the reason I decided to amp is after a long debates with those who favor government, I've come to realize that it's about convenience for them. It's easier to say the state should do it. I may not completely agree with libertarians or voluntarists, but I respect their ideas.
Wow.
And I'm one who believes that what is easy is not worthwhile because it's not unique, and using force to spread a message is morally repugnant. Anyway,
excellent. Thank you for supporting the AMP program, which for those that don't know, you can go to amp.freetalklive.com to do that for $5 a month, ampamp.freetalklive.com. So what were you calling about tonight?
Yeah, I was just saying that those who believe in state programs and state-run institutions, really what they favor is the convenience of having it taken care of for them instead of having to have the market provide it or having them themselves be responsible for it.
Yeah. It really just comes down to they don't want to think about it, and they'd rather have poor service that they can count on, some way or
they
another.
think they can count on.
Yeah,
I mean, this is the government. You can't count on them for crap.
Most of the time, they'll come through and provide you some poor service, right? Like they usually pick up the trash.
I don't know. Kallen says where he's from in Philadelphia, you can call the police, but they won't come.
They just don't come.
Yeah.
Still taxing you, though.
Exactly. Absolutely.
But yeah, I think you're onto something there, Ben. It is essentially the refuge of the lazy. If you have to turn towards violence or the threat of violence to achieve your political or social goal, that is a suggestion that you might be on the wrong track, that your idea, maybe it's a fine idea, but maybe you feel like you don't want to put the effort into actually seeing it through the voluntary world, through consent, through convincing people that your idea is a good one. No, you're going to turn to the government and then force people to support your idea, which again presumes you would be able to control the government's program in the first place, which of course you won't write the laws and you won't implement them, so it'll probably look nothing like what you envisioned ultimately if it ever does happen, whatever it is that we're talking about. But yeah, I think you're right on.
Okay. Have a good night.
Thanks, Ben, for the call, and thanks for the amp. Amp.freetalklive.com. You can amp with any credit card through PayPal. You can also do Bitcoin as well, and really appreciate it. The AMP program has over the years been kind of slowly losing blood, if you will, losing cash over time. It's been as high as I think we peaked at like $3,900, $4,000 or somewhere around that per month.
Yeah,
and we're now at $2,900. So it's been a long, slow fall from the peak that we've had, but it's just like we'll get an amplifier or two every week, but we might lose 3 or 4. So it's been a slow. I don't know if hemorrhage is the right term, but a slow bleeding.
Well, they say the economy is getting better, but apparently it's not for our amplifiers.
We still appreciate everybody who supports the show. We got probably about 250 folks who amp at various different levels. Some for
Thank God
$5.
for 'em,
yeah, $5 a month. Some for 10. 5 is all we ask. But if you want to do more, please, we appreciate it. We'll put it to good use. We'll use it to advertise, market, and promote Free Talk Live, and get this show, the only show in its class that is able to spread the message of freedom like we are. There's some other shows out there that are trying to do it, but they're nowhere near the market penetration that Free Talk Live has. And so if you want to help us out, again, it's not a big budget program here. We don't have a whole lot of money to throw around. What we have is what you give us for the most part. And then there's our few generous advertisers who back the show as well. But between our great advertisers and our listeners who support us, that's it. That's how we run this thing. So please go to amp.freetalklive.com. You'll get perks like the AMP-only call-in lines that Ben was on there. You also get the AMP-only podcast, which doesn't have the regular podcast commercials in it, and also the AMP-only Facebook group where you can interact with other Free Talk Live amplifiers and hosts of the show, which is fun stuff. So amp.freetalklive.com as we continue here. So there's just so much to cover from Venezuela. I am almost overwhelmed with where to start. Apparently, the numbers, I went and checked on the numbers of the people dead in the protests out there. Last I looked, it was like 29. It's now up to 38 as of Friday. And this is after, according to former presidential candidate Enrique Capriles, who is now banned, by the way, from running for office for 15 years. How you do that, I don't know, but apparently they can in Venezuela. Said that 85 officers, a majority from the military, have been detained for expressing discontent with the actions of the nation's National Guard. He said he received information about the detained officers through some of their relatives who indicated they wanted their position shared with the public. National Guardsmen have repeatedly launched tear gas and rubber bullets in more than a month of anti-government protests. Demonstrations are calling for President Nicolas Maduro to hold elections, but the embattled leader shows no sign of ceding to their demands. Authorities announced Friday that Hedker Lugo, age 20, had died a day after being shot in Valencia, which has been the scene of ongoing protests and massive looting. More than 700 people, by the way, have been injured. They're obviously, as you know, the people that are dead are getting most of the headlines, but a lot of people have been injured, and opposition leaders have repeatedly called on officers to think with their conscience before launching attacks, noting that among the protesters could be their own relatives and friends. The opposition is calling for women to march throughout the nation on Saturday, while pro-government women's groups are planning a counter-demonstration. So that's kind of what you've got going on here. Is there are, believe it or not, still some people who are in favor of the Maduro government there in Venezuela. So you've got dueling protesters in addition to this sort of thugs that are kind of they're not cops necessarily, but they've been like Maduro's handing out guns to these people. There's a very detailed article at the New York Times from a couple of weeks ago entitled "Armed Civilian Bans in Venezuela Prop Up Unpopular President." We had read headlines a few weeks ago when Maduro was calling for these, I don't know what you want to call them, these groups, these pro-government groups, to be armed. And remember, this is a country where possession of firearms by the average person is prohibited.
Yep. They don't want that.
So if you are siding with the Maduro government, now all of a sudden you have a right to bear arms in defense of Nicolas Maduro.
How convenient.
In Venezuela. I'll give you an excerpt from this story just because, it's a very interesting piece, but it's way too long to share in full. We'll link to it on our Facebook and Twitter. From Caracas, the New York Times, the bikers thundered up in a phalanx of red jackets and dark clothes, some with faces covered, revving motorcycles before 1,000 protesters in Caracas. They threw tear gas canisters to disperse the crowd. Then, witnesses say, they pulled pistols and fired. Someone fell. Carlos Moreno, age 17, lay sprawled on the ground, a pool of blood around his head. His brain matter was coming out, recalled Carlos Julio Rojas, a community leader who witnessed the fatal shooting in Venezuela's capital on Wednesday. The uniformed men who shot Mr. Moreno were not government security forces, say witnesses. Rather, they were members of armed bands who have become key enforcers for President Nicolas Maduro as he attempts to crush a growing protest movement against his rule. And again, these protests have been going on for weeks now, continuously in Venezuela. The groups, called collectives or colectivos in Spanish, originated as a pro-government...
That's comforting.
Pro-government community organizations that have long been a part of the landscape of leftist Venezuelan politics. Civilians with police training. Colectivo members are armed by the government, say the experts who have studied them. Colectivos control vast territory across Venezuela, financed in some cases by extortion, black market food, and parts of the drug trade as the government turns a blind eye in exchange for their loyalty. And now they appear to be playing a key role in repressing dissent. We'll tell you more about the colectivos, and you can share your thoughts with us here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And you can bring up what you want on Free Talk Live. Do you need a website for your blog or new business? It can be pretty intimidating on your own, and that's why Free Talk Live has partnered with HostGator, one of the top hosting companies. HostGator offers a simple, one-click, easy installation for WordPress, 24/7 over-the-phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive, user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation back into your hands. Go to HostGator.com/FTL, and you'll get 50% off of their regular hosting prices. 50% off. HostGator.com/FTL. Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
If you're David, a few well-chosen words can help level the playing field with Goliath. I'm Holland Cook from SurvivalSpeech.com. Recently, I saw a Yellow Pages ad for an appliance repair company, and the headline read, "Why wait for Sears?" If you're going to the Yellow Pages, the Dead Sea Scrolls of advertising, you're ready to buy right now. So this is an attention-grabbing message. And how about the plumber whose radio ad says, "Call by noon Thursday, and we'll be there Saturday at no extra cost"? Smart guy. Most plumbing firms give their crew the weekend off. This one gives them Sunday and Monday off. In the words of a respected advertising executive, cut to the chase, make it quick, and tell me exactly what you can do for me, especially if you're looking for work. For more tips on critical communication skills for the way things are now, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it.
Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll free. Bring up whatever you want. Our number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype And the Skype username is LRN.FM. With you tonight, it's Ian,
Kallen,
and Mark.
Also, do want to let you know, if you want to help support Free Talk Live, then you should go and check out Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. You go to victimlesscrimespree.com. You can watch the movie there for free online. But you can also buy the DVD with Bitcoin now online, and soon we're going to have it up on eBay. I just sent Conan with a couple copies today, so he's going to be putting that up online. So for those of you who don't have Bitcoin, you will soon be able to order through your credit card or PayPal via eBay. So we're going to get that going pretty soon here, sometime probably early this week. But for now, you can go to bitcoin.victimlesscrimespree.com. That'll take you right to the Save It Purse page, where you can order your own DVD copy of Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree for $9 worth of Bitcoin plus a couple bucks to ship it. And it's an awesome DVD. I'm really proud of it. It's a great way to share the movie because, you can say to yourself, oh, well, I've already seen it online. Why do I need to buy the DVD? Because you can give it to people. You can give it as a gift. You can loan it out to friends. That's a lot easier to do with a physical thing than it is to tell somebody, okay, go online and go watch this movie. If they actually have the disc in their hands, it might make it a little bit easier for them. And plus, just as a collector, as a fan of the movie, if you enjoyed it online, you'll love the DVD. It's loaded up with bonuses like the commentary tracks, 2 of them. You got one with Derek J by himself watching the movie, commenting on it. And of course, it actually starts in Philadelphia, Kallen. I don't know if you're familiar with the film, but
I'm definitely. I never saw the film.
It begins in Philly because that's where Derek is from.
Yeah,
and the rest of it is all basically here in Keene, New Hampshire, where Derek is arrested 5 times in a 1-year time frame for civil disobedience and other things, never involving any kind of real victim or whatever. And it all got caught on video. It's an entertaining film, great commentary tracks, and lots of bonuses, including over 7 hours of activist footage that's in the DVD-ROM. So if you stick the DVD in your computer, you'll be able to access all of those files as well. So check that out go to bitcoin.victimlesscrimespree.com, and that'll take you right to the order page at Save It Purse. As we continue here, your calls and thoughts are welcome. We can talk more about the colectivos in Venezuela. These are the goons who are being armed up by Nicolas Maduro, the president of the country, so they can go around and crush the opposition. They can go around and crush the upstarts who want to put an end to the dictator-like rule of Nicolas Maduro in this socialist hellhole that is Venezuela. We'll continue, though. First up, Greg is in Brooklyn, listening online. Hello, Greg.
Hey, what's going on?
What's on your mind tonight?
Definitely not a big fan of Maduro or any kind of coercive government like that.
Okay.
But lately, I've been sort of realizing what kind of libertarian I am. And to give, so I'm a consequentialist libertarian. Consequentialist means I care about outcomes. Means I don't care as much about principles. If the principle leads to worse outcomes, then I wouldn't be in favor of it.
That makes you a utilitarian.
Yeah, consequentialist is another term that it's used, and I would say I am the same.
Really?
Sure. I absolutely care about the outcomes. If I felt like...
if you have to hurt somebody to get a better outcome, you'll do that?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, if by applying the aggressive force to someone gives you a better outcome,
aggressive force, because I'll apply defensive force in order to get a better outcome.
Well, defensive force is acceptable under libertarianism, but the idea of libertarianism is the principle of non-aggression, and if you're willing to violate that principle because you believe there's a better outcome, that if you use aggression, then you're not a libertarian in my book, Greg.
Well, if civilization, if humankind was somehow wiped out by refusing to act, but if I had to say snuff you out in order for the rest of humankind to exist, yeah, I'll pull the trigger because that's what has to be done.
That's a ridiculous example, and that's where you have to go, Mark, to make any kind of point against the non-aggression principle. It's absurd, and it is immoral to do what you just suggested that you would do.
Well, hold on, guys.
Because you could choose to do nothing.
Let me clarify.
Go ahead, Greg.
Let me clarify this. So I think we've agreed before, violence is employed either way. You can employ violence, as you call it, in a defensive way to basically protect property. But then that just pushes the question one step back. What is property? I mean, some people would say, I own a patent. I own this exclusive right to restrict everybody else from doing this. So property itself is actually a monopoly right to exclude others from the use of a resource. if you think you own a lake,
the difference between an idea and property is that the idea is not limited. Generally, property is scarce, which is why ownership matters. But when it comes to ideas, and this is one of the areas where some libertarians disagree, is in the area of so-called intellectual property. I don't agree with intellectual property. I don't think that, I'm not on board with that concept at all. I think that ideas are plentiful. You can copy them on a limited amount of times, and it doesn't, diminish the original idea. Whereas
I'm on the side of intellectual property. I just don't think that the government should be there enforcing people's property rights. That should be done elsewhere.
Sure, but ultimately, if somebody copies an idea, you still have the original idea. Whereas if you steal a chair off of my front porch, if you take the chair because you don't believe in property and you believe that it is your chair because you've taken it, then I no longer have the chair. And so scarcity is the most important factor there.
Right. There are concepts called public good, which is non-rivalrous, and I forgot there's one other property that it has. But, some things are more scarce than others. For example, the air, is pretty plentiful. So if I say I will own the air, in this area, and you have to pay me for every breath, right? That could be a contract, but it would be pretty ridiculous and hard to enforce. And you could go down the line.
Unless you're in the space station.
Right, exactly. So that's my point. My point is it has to be, first of all, a system that it makes sense and is enforceable. Agree?
Absolutely.
Kind of system.
Yes.
Okay. So when I say that I'm a consequentialist, I mean I criticize systems on the basis of the outcomes that the system produces. It's going to involve violence or coercion one way or the other. Whether we're in the space station and I coerce you to pay me before you can breathe, or whether, you're on my land, or whether you're using my quote-unquote idea or whatever. It's a system, and I want to know if it leads to better outcomes or worse outcomes. So for me, the question is more about how do you measure what is better? Like, are people more healthy? Are more people more healthy? Like, do I want to maximize the minimum? Like, I don't want anyone to die, that kind of thing. So libertarians like that include like Milton Friedman, and I don't know that many others, to be honest.
Yep.
There are a few.
I'll tell you how you measure it. You have a control group, because that's the only way you can really do science, to say one thing works better than another. And in order to have a control group, you simply can't have an organization like the state, because states are monopolistic and rapacious. So they won't put up with a non-state entity existing within or near their borders. So far that hasn't happened. When confronted with these situations, they're going to rise up. Now, one thing you would probably agree with, Greg, is that a libertarian state, if you could use such a term, would probably be very, very effective as far as technology and creation, right?
Right, exactly. For me, libertarian state just means take the current state and try to make it more libertarian over time.
Greg, thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate the discussion. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. One thing's for sure, libertarians don't all agree over what the property system should look like either. There's more coming up. Free Talk Live.
Are you looking to become more self-sufficient? Then you need to have your own energy source. The SolarArc EMP hardened generator is automatic, maintenance-free, and reduces your monthly electric bill. You can also take it off-grid when you go camping. Contact PortableSolarLLC.com or call for details at 972-575-8875 today. Portable Solar LLC gives you everything you need to start using solar energy in less than 1 hour. SolarArc EMP hardened solar generator energy insurance. For your family or business, call Portable Solar LLC today.
Lifetime Gray's 100% grass-fed beef has the health benefits you seek. When compared to conventional beef, it offers good fats while virtually eliminating the bad. That's the result of cattle who never eat grain, ever. Rich in antioxidants, including vitamin E, C, beta-carotene, and CLA. No artificial hormones, antibiotics, or other drugs. For all our fresh, non-cooked products with only 100% grass-fed beef, go to MidasResources.com. Use voucher code GCN to get 30% off your order. MidasResources.com or find us on Facebook.
Free Talk Live.
I look up on internet and tried to research some stuff that everybody's been talking about. And, it's all true.
What?
It's true.
What is?
Everything that's going on in this country.
The heck are you talking
Everything that you're talking about, I'm talking about 9/11.
We don't talk about that.
Everything.
Yeah, you're being incredibly vague.
I know what's going on. I mean, people get in an airplane and they talk about, well, they were talking on this plane and they were doing this from that to this and that.
I have no idea
what you're talking about. Didn't work back then.
What is this and that? You need to be a lot less vague because I don't know what you're talking about.
Everything, Dale. Everything is true.
Everything is true. Okay, that's going on in this
Yes,
country.
what I'm trying to tell. Everything is true, but they will not listen.
Everything.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at SurvivorMax.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, Hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live, dial toll free, whatever you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and you can Skype on in here at username LRN.FM. We're going to continue with your calls. More about Venezuela on the way if we get the chance. But I did want to comment a little further about some of the ways libertarians can disagree when it comes to property. And we've had long conversations with Greg there about his viewpoint on property. But one of the and I don't really consider Greg to be a libertarian, although he likes to, say that he is.
You don't consider anybody a libertarian?
No, sure. If somebody adheres to the non-aggression principle, then I do.
You'll pull their card in an instant.
If they support
with you
aggression,
on the slightest issue,
if they support aggression, then I'll pull their card. But anyway, what I wanted to point out was that I don't know if the current property situation that we have is really the best one or the most, pro-freedom one, or I think that there are different questions that
What do you mean property situation?
Well, so like where, let's say you just kind of own land that you never do anything with, right? There's an argument to say that if somebody's willing to homestead property and actually, do something with that property,
that makes it theirs.
That they could make that theirs. The question is, at what point can you? At what point is property abandoned? Right? Like if you set something down on the street, some sort of thing or whatever, your skateboard or something, gold bar or whatever, and then you walk away from it. If you come back in an hour, I think most people would agree that that's still your property. But if it's a year, then I think a lot of people would say that you've abandoned that property. So where do you draw that line from it's yours to it's no longer yours? And I think libertarians would probably disagree if we, if we had discussions about these things.
The libertarian philosophy you're referring to is Georgism, or something like that. And the geo-libertarianism is another term that's bandied around. The reason that I disagree with that is because of organizations like the Nature Conservancy and Ducks Unlimited, these kind of places. So specifically the Nature Conservancy. This is an organization that operates basically by libertarian principles, although I'm sure everybody there's, card-carrying pinko, right? As a matter of fact, I know one, and she's not. But regardless. The fact is that this organization buys up land or is given land and basically pays little to no tax because of its status as a 501c3 organization. So it takes this land and does nothing with it. Maybe they'll clear some land as a fire break or something like that, but I've heard claims that they don't. So I don't know. But they just let it return to nature. And that, in my opinion, is something they should be able to do. If they take land, it belongs to them.
I agree with you.
And they want to return it to a state of nature. That's what they should do. Now, I know that there's big problems with them that they're dealing with in New Jersey. New Jersey is a place where, well, pretty much all the land's been bought up, and people are upset that the Nature Conservancy is taking land out of the scenario, that it's driving up pricing and things like that because of, obviously, houses become more dear as nobody's allowed to live in them. I do know that they use some houses that they've been donated and for staffing purposes and that kind of thing, but they don't do a heck of a lot of lawn maintenance. So I think that they're just kind of there and operating as the houses deteriorate. They probably use other houses. And I think that they should be able to do that. And I don't think somebody should be able to go on
build a house there.
Nature Conservancy land and clear a piece of land and pop a house up and say, I live here now.
I get where you're coming from. I don't know how. I mean, I feel like I agree with you there, but I feel like there are probably some circumstances where, somebody has a bunch of land in a portfolio somewhere and they're not doing anything with it and it's just sitting there. And then, the question is, does that become abandoned property at some point? And I don't know. I honestly don't know. And I don't know what people would think about that. And so, we can sit here and say this is the way it ought to be, but it would be the way the market wanted it to be. And what would the market say about
In
those
order
things?
for me to protect the Nature Conservancy, I must also protect the rancher who, owns 1 million acres, and all he or she does with that 1 million acres is lets it lie fallow for the cows next year or whatever. I'm not the one to say. I don't know. I own. I don't own it, but there's an entity that I have some controlling interest in that owns a piece of property that's 11 acres. Is that too much? I don't use the back half of it. I haven't gone hiking there in probably 2 years.
Yeah.
So, should somebody come and pop a little house back there? I'm going to be a little upset.
What about intangible property? We're talking about property like physical property. What about intangible property? Do you think libertarians have the same idea about it? Like, for example,
something besides intellectual property. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah. So, I'm not. So, I believe if a book is, I think it's about like 30 or 40 years old, it becomes open to the public domain. Something like that.
Yeah, as far as intellectual property goes.
Yes. But if a person wrote that book, that's technically still his property, even though the law says it's public domain after a certain amount of years. That's still technically that person's property, So,
Well, I'm against intellectual property, so I think that you can only have what you can protect as far as intellectual property is concerned. And I think that, and I know you're an author, so obviously this is probably near and dear to your heart.
Well, we're content producers ourselves.
Sure.
And you live by this.
And I give away everything that I produce,
yeah.
But ultimately,
but you do have contracts with radio stations that say that they will place particular ads that are placed during the show. So I mean,
they do say that, but we're not going to go after them if they don't. I've got better things to do than spend time in lawsuits. But regardless, So there's really nothing I would do if I were an author and somebody went out and Xeroxed my book or, scanned it or whatever, which is copying it without permission. I would just There's nothing I would do about it. I would just, market the book through whatever channels I could market it through, and hope that the players in the marketplace would respect the fact that I was the author and that I should be the one whose book they carry rather than whoever it is that's out there copying it.
But I think it's how much damage that's being caused. So, for example, if a person Xerox a book and gives it to their friend, that's fine. But if a person Xerox their book and puts it on a popular website, mm-hmm. and hundreds of thousands of people are downloading it,
yep.
and an author does not get 1 cent from it, and the people and there's been more free copies given than the author has sold the book.
See, to me, I would
think that it was the author's lifetime that the copyright was protected. I couldn't say. I mean, this is not legal advice. I don't know the answer to that. But I think that at some point it gets confusing.
I would be happy as long as my name was still on the book. Mm-hmm. If that person put their name on the book mm-hmm. and was selling it, then that's fraud.
That's fraud.
Yeah.
Now, think about the Three Musketeers. I'm sure that whoever the author is, and I don't have it here in front of me. I know I read it, but I don't remember. The progeny of that author are probably numerous. Mm-hmm. There certainly are authors of great works out there that have, many great grandchildren. And are those people being ripped off because, say, the works of Shakespeare are in the public domain? I tend to think not.
All right, let's continue if we can here, but let's go to Larry in Evansville. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Larry.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir. What's on your mind tonight?
Well, you'll have to excuse me. I don't know your names. I've only called in one other time.
That's all right. There are three of us here tonight. It's Ian, Kallen, and Mark. Go ahead.
Okay. Ian, Ian, earlier you had a discussion with someone concerning, I'm not going to say what he said, but the individual that said that he would shoot someone, let's say, you pull the trigger to save mankind.
Mm-hmm.
Who was that individual?
That was me, Mark.
Mark, okay. I agree with you, Mark, because earlier, other programs I've listened to, I've listened to Ian, I believe the other individual was, the person she was talking to, say that we should act in self-defense only. Someone's going to harm us. But I've also heard him say that if you saw a neighbor being accosted, you'd go over there and defend your neighbor.
Hang on. Yeah, it's okay. It's totally okay to use violence to defend others, but we'll let you continue in a moment, Larry. Hang on.
How to incorporate your business in just 10 minutes so you won't lose everything if you get sued. Step 1, stop putting it off. If you're not incorporated and someone sues your business tomorrow, it's not just your business at risk. You can lose everything: your home, your car, even your life savings. Step 2, call the following number for a free 10-minute incorporation guide from Incorporate.com. 1-800-940-9829. They don't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating quick and easy. So you can incorporate or form an LLC in just 10 minutes. That number again is 1-800-940-9829. Step 3, congratulate yourself. By taking just 10 minutes to incorporate your business or form an LLC, you protected your home, your car, and your life savings. And that is how you incorporate your business in just 10 minutes. But hurry while they're still giving away these 10-minute incorporation guides for free. Call 1-800-940-9829. That's 1-800-940-9829.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-765-9681 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-765-9681. Again, that's 800-765-9681.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Work with your doctor when taking medications. Make Protovite part of your healthy lifestyle.
HealthForLiberty.com is your source for Protovite, a powerful nutritional supplement that's a true breakthrough for your health. Poor digestion makes it nearly impossible to absorb the nutrition your body needs. Protovite is a liquid multi-nutrient formula with patent-pending absorption technology and the highest quality ingredients to nourish every cell in your body.
My name is Sandra White. 6 weeks ago, when I started taking Protovite, I was on 14 medications, from everything for blood pressure to fibromyalgia. In the first 10 days, my blood sugar dropped 50 points, and my fibromyalgia pain is gone. And so was 12 of the 14 medications that I was taking. I'm 66, living life and loving it.
Go to healthforliberty.com right now. That's healthforliberty.com.
Thank you, Protovite, for giving my life back.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Moments remain. There's enough time for you. If you dial in right now, we can probably get you on the air here tonight. That's toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And once again, if you want to help support Free Talk Live, then please amp the show at amp.freetalklive.com. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. amp.freetalklive.com allows you to get behind the show for $5 a month and helps us get on more radio stations so we can help spread the ideas of freedom and liberty as far and as wide as possible, because a lot of people don't really know what libertarianism is. They don't really understand what it means or what would happen if the ideas of liberty were actually put into place. And those are some of the things that we talk about. And we've had the chance to talk about here tonight thanks to some of our callers, Ian, Kallen, and Mark in the studio. And so, again, go to amp.freetalklive.com to get signed up for $5 a month and get some cool perks. But let's go back to Larry in Evansville. We were talking about the use of force in self and defense of others, which is the libertarian position, is that you should be able to use force to defend yourself or to defend another who's being attacked. But go ahead, Larry, with your thoughts.
Great. Well, two things, and I'll make statements and I'll listen to your responses off the air. But if Ian, if you were seeing your neighbor, 2 examples. If you were seeing your neighbor being accosted or attacked, and you went there to defend that person, by definition, you're taking an offensive action to defend somebody else. So you are taking offensive action. Now, in concerning what Mark said, well, okay, but now concerning what Mark said is, if someone was going to push the button to launch a nuclear weapon, and the only way you could stop that person, you was in the same room with them, and the only way you could stop that person, because if you tried to push them away, they'd shoot you or they'd kill you to prevent you from stopping them. The only way is to shoot that person or harm them severely. Or
I'd say you're justified in that case. That's not what Mark said. Mark didn't give a specific example. He didn't. He just said some sort of vagary about how if he could, kill me to save the planet, then he would.
I'm just looking for an excuse.
Save mankind. Well, we will look at Kim Jong-un. Okay, he launches a nuclear weapon, even just at South Korea, not at us. He would kill
But what
in
about
Seoul.
what
There's
about this as
25
far
million
as
people?
Kim Jong-un? Now, Kim Jong-un's threatened on multiple occasions to do this sort of thing, and the government thereof.
Yeah.
And God knows what whatever government
And his father
have threatened also. Would you be justified if you had the opportunity to just shoot Kim Jong-un? Like, you see him, whatever, pow. Would you be justified because of the threats?
Well,
I think so.
I would say yes for this reason, because if you want by in the definition to take a true defensive stance, then you'd wait till he launched it. You wait to see if he launched it or not. If he launched it, then what do you do?
Right. I mean, at that point, your chance to kill baby Hitler is over, and there's tens of millions of dead people.
Correct. So if you had the opportunity to take him out, if he's threatening to do it, and he has the capability to do it, and if he wanted to do it, he could. You wait till he launches the nuclear weapon and wait till 10 million people are dead, then shoot him?
Indeed, it's the difficulty. And this is sort of the question that the Romans, I think, articulated it best is, it's said that the Romans conquered the world in self-defense, right? The idea is do you wait for the baby snake to hatch and strike you, and poison you, or do you crush it in its egg, in its infancy? And, this is probably the question that many pro-war advocates are asking themselves as far as North Korea goes right now.
Right.
Now, of course, I would argue for those pro-war people that, hey, let's look at how these things have worked out over the last 6 decades, and the answer is that they really haven't. So I think that it's one thing to the letter of marque and reprisal put out on the the crazy dictator. It's another thing entirely to send a whole bunch of warships over there.
So just let's clarify something here with this example, because I don't know exactly what Kim Jong-un has said on every occasion on which he's said it, but in the most recent one, remember we talked about the Korean defector, the most recent high-level Korean defector who'd come out. He said that Kim Jong-un has said, quote, once Kim sees there is any kind of sign of a tank or an imminent threat from America, then he would use his nuclear weapons or with an ICBM. So at least in that context, if this guy is to be believed, that Kim Jong-un is saying he would use a nuclear weapon as a deterrent, not that he would just launch a nuke for the sake of launching a nuke because he's a madman, and he may be a madman. But that particular example, the most recent one, is a statement of self-defense, meaning that if he feels as though the U.S. is going to attack him, he would launch a missile. So that's a very different statement, isn't it?
Yeah, and we've had 30,000 troops there with the capability of really destroying the capital in North Korea for 60-some years.
Mm-hmm.
And that has never presented a threat to him?
Apparently
or
not.
His father or to his grandfather?
No, apparently he's not so worried about that.
Yeah.
So again, those launches haven't happened. I don't consider the guy a threat. The last 2 missiles they tried to launch as a test, they barely got off the rocket or the launch pad.
If somebody tries to aim a gun at you and it just fizzles and just goes click,
that's not what happened. He was doing a test. They were test launches.
Here's the point. If somebody points a gun at you, do you wait to see if it's going to fizzle?
No, obviously not. But that's not what's happening here.
Mm-hmm.
They have
this guy's saying he's saying I'm going to launch if somebody comes after me. At least in this most recent example. Again, maybe there's another example where he's just saying, "Oh, kill everyone." And if that's the case, then yeah, you've got a madman, and it's okay to defend yourself against somebody who's going to hurt you. If you believe that,
I guess my big question is, when do you call it self-defense, and when do you call it an offensive stance to defend?
I think it gets murky in situations like this.
Yeah.
I could say this is that foreign policy experts that specialize in the Korean Peninsula tend to agree that the likelihood that there isn't a good outcome of U.S. military force being used against North Korea.
The best bet is to withdraw. The best bet is to pull the U.S. troops out of South Korea and whatever
That's what
other
the South
places.
Koreans seem to want.
Hey, thanks for the call, Larry. I appreciate the discussion. Let's go to Bill in Charleston, listening to WTMA. Hey, Bill.
Hey, how you guys doing? Sorry to call so late.
No worries. You're here, though. Go ahead.
Love the discussion. I was actually calling about libertarianism, and did read a book years ago, fell in love with it. And as far as I understand it, it's supposed to be you take care of your backyard first, and then your neighborhood, and your mayor should be the most important election above the president, like that, right? And I just have to remark on this threat thing. Who decides who's a threat and who decides who the outcome is? Would you go back and shoot Jesus to prevent the Crusades?
Yeah, there's great question.
Yeah.
And first you'd have to find a Nazarite with a Greek name, which would be really difficult.
There you go. Okay. Okay. Well, that aside, that was an extreme example.
Yes, it's a good one though.
Who decides who the threat is, or what's a threat today and what's not a threat tomorrow? That kind of thing. Imaginary futures are it's 2020 hindsight is great, but imaginary futures are hard to. Oh, I'm going to pull a trigger because this guy's bad. You don't want to do that. That's not libertarian, is it?
No.
He should have the freedom to be bad and to make his own backyard and his own bed.
Yeah, he needs to deal with his consequences. I agree.
Right. Until his badness threatens you or your family or your loved ones, then whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think you can work. So your argument about stepping in for your neighbor is just working as agency. I can hire somebody to protect me in the same way. Sure. I think that there's a small amount of people in my life that I trust to make the right decision about protecting me too, and that's how it goes. So I appreciate that.
We do try and choose our neighborhoods that way, don't we? I mean, we do move if we don't feel safe, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Good call tonight, Bill. Anything else you want to share?
Yes, real quick. How do I find out more about the basis? Now, the book I read 20, 30 years ago was from one of the gentlemen who was, I can't remember his name, but he was attributed with starting the movement. And I've registered as an independent ever since. And I do believe that your neighborhood and your backyard are your most important things, and then everything else comes later, because even your sheriff and your county government are as important as your state government, because they kind of control your area.
Just to clarify, because we're short on time, you're looking for book recommendations?
Book recommendations, or is there a libertarian kind of the libertarian movement or organization as it exists today is kind of fractured and scattered, and nobody really understands it. Is there something on your site I can go to?
Yeah, start with book.freetalklive.com.
I think that still works.
I think it does. Okay. Book.freetalklive.com ought to get you something to really start with.
Yeah, those are.
I love it.
And call and ask questions.
I think Bernie Sanders actually kind of helped you guys.
Bill, call another night. Let's talk again. We're out of time for tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow. freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement, and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love. But make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
The Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, May 7th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.35 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,228 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $1,545. Antiwar.com reports from U.S. officials familiar with the situation say that the Trump administration is working to push through billions of dollars in arms sales to Saudi Arabia in the next week or two, with an eye towards having the pacts finalized before Trump's visit to Riyadh later this month. Massive civilian death tolls in the Saudi war in Yemen have led some in Congress, as well as a number of human rights groups, to push the U.S. and Saudi Arabia's other arms dealers to cut back on certain sales related to the war for fear they involve the commission of war crimes. Former President Obama had willingly limited the sales a little bit at the very end of his administration, though President Trump has since moved to reverse that, insisting that it would repair the relationship damaged by the extremely limited moves by his predecessor to limit Saudi slaughter in Yemen. With the Saudis looking to spend even more on war and the Pentagon looking to join in on the Yemen attack, the Trump administration appears all too eager to look the other way of the matter of a few thousand civilians killed here or there, particularly if it means he can brag up billions in new sales during his upcoming visit. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports a federal appeals court overturned a lower court's decision to dismiss a California woman's lawsuit to have U.S. Airways' $15 bag fee refunded after they lost her luggage. While the $15 fee might seem paltry, the woman's lawyers have sought to turn the case into a class action lawsuit, which could put American Airlines, which took over U.S. Air, on the hook for returning millions in luggage fees for customers whose bags failed to arrive on time. Haley Hickok Huffman filed suit against U.S. Air to get her $15 back after the bag she checked failed to arrive on her flight from San Luis Obispo, California to Colorado Springs, Colorado in 2013. A district court judge dismissed the suit, saying the airline never promised to refund the fee as part of its written terms of service. Under the Federal Airlines Deregulation Act, the judge ruled airlines are only held to a best effort standard in delivering luggage. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system and to fully capitalize on that decision in their fundraising efforts. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. Reuters reports a former Texas policeman who has been charged with murder in the shooting of a teenager has left jail after posting bond, according to authorities on Saturday. Dallas County Sheriff's Department spokeswoman Melinda Urbina said on a text message that bond for former Balk Springs officer Roy Oliver was $300,000. According to the Parker County Sheriff's Office, just west of Dallas, and a jail official for the county, Oliver surrendered to authorities on Friday after a warrant was issued for his arrest on a charge of murder. He was released on bond the same day. Oliver was fired by the force of the suburban Dallas Police Department earlier in the week for policy violations. The shooting, which took place on April 29th in a primarily minority neighborhood in Balk Springs, about 15 miles southeast of Dallas, stoked simmering tensions over perceived racial bias in the U.S. policing. Balk Springs police have said Oliver and another officer were responding to a disturbance on that Saturday night and heard multiple gunshots. They came across a vehicle with teens and ordered it to stop, but the vehicle pulled away. Jordan Edwards, a high school student, described described by his family and friends as a standout student and athlete, was struck by a bullet to the head and died. An attorney for the family has asked supporters to avoid holding any protest or vigils before the teen is laid to rest. Police body camera footage from the scene was reviewed before the department made its decision to fire Oliver. Police Chief Jonathan Haber told a news conference on Tuesday that the video contradicted an earlier version he gave of the incident, in which he said the car was in reverse and heading towards the officer. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
The Supreme Court's sidekick, Kid Justice, is killed by mad genius Dr. Contempto. Thousands of elderly Japanese Americans are rounded up for an internment camp's 70th reunion, and a report confirms the habitat of Bengal tigers is now down to a studio apartment in Jaipur, India. As it was once prophesied in the weekly news recap videos of old, here now it emerges before your very eyes. This is the Onion Week in Review. Local man Matthew Hunker announced this week that he has such strong brand loyalty to Mazda that he's willing to kill for the Japanese car brand. Hunker told reporters that if he hears anyone say anything negative about Mazda's cutting-edge features, or if anyone places any other car brand above the award-winning line of 2013 Mazdas, he will, quote, personally beat them to death.
You think I wouldn't slit your goddamn throat in the name of Mazda? You think I'm f***ing around? Go ahead, say something bad about the top-rated Mazda 6, or the award-winning CX-5. See what f***ing happens. I f***ing dare you.
You think I'm afraid to go to jail? This is the Onion News Network.
to represent my family to the American public. We can make a difference in 2012 and beyond, but we have to do that by being different. And that'll be easy enough because most of us are different already. Different enough to know that the only way that the federal government can create jobs is by firing bureaucrats. Different enough to know that the devastating war on drugs has got to be stopped so we can save precious lives in this country. Different enough to know that taxes, regulation, government agencies exacerbate our problems rather than solving our problems for us. Different enough to know that individuals are better to make their own decisions than to get bureaucrats involved. Different enough to know that we can take care of ourselves without any help at all. Different enough to know that we can make a difference by being different. Whatever happens here today, we're going to go forward. We're going to show America what libertarians are really all about. We did that last night. Last night was not so much about running for president as it was showing the American people that libertarians are not the boogeyman that everybody says we are. We have families, friends, dreams, just like all other Americans. We have many things in common. Sometimes the only thing that makes us different from other Americans is knowing that relying on government is not the answer for the problems we face in America. So I'll ask you once again the same I've asked everywhere I've been. Join me, my family. I am not at war. If we say that enough, if enough of us say it, they can't have them anymore. Thank you so much for this honor. Thank you.
And what you just heard there was the nomination speech for the 2012 presidential nomination. That was the now late R. Lee Wrights. Welcome you guys to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. I am your host, as always, Will Coley, and joined, as always, by my regular co-host, Mr. Tom Gray. How you doing tonight, Tom?
I'm holding up, Will. I know you had a really strong connection with Mr. Wrights, and usually this is the part of the show where I make some joke about current events, but instead I think we're going to cede this first segment to talk about Mr. Wrights and to talk about what's going on with the Liberty Movement in his stead. Just a bit of a somber moment, but I've got jokes for later. So
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, Lee and I were a little close. I met him quite a few years ago at a Tennessee State convention, and when I met him,
he reminded me of my dad a lot. He had the same kind of mannerisms and personality as my pop, and even the same red hair and red beard and small pot belly. He just reminded me of my dad a lot, and we got to hang out there at the convention and got to chat a lot with each other online, and I solicited his endorsement for the vice presidential nomination, and it was quite a blow when he gave the endorsement to Alicia Dern instead. But then came to me afterward and said that he wasn't thinking, and that if there was one decision that he made last year that he wished he could take back, it was the fact that he with Alicia over me, and that from here on out I had him in my corner 100%. And this after me telling him basically that seeing him in 2012 and seeing how he carried himself and the unapologetic nature of his libertarianism, that I saw myself as a young up and coming R. Lee Wrights, this loud, unapologetic, completely and totally redneck, like in your face, this is what we believe, and if you don't like it, well, that's freedom. You're allowed not to like it. and wanting to kind of cast my political career in his own image, and him saying that he was honored to hear that. So I have no regrets, at the very least. I'm not happy that he is no longer with us. He and I were actually in negotiations about him managing my future political campaign that is being discussed. What office and when, I really won't talk about, but Arlie was first contender for campaign manager, and that was a discussion that we were in the middle of having when he got sick. And so yeah, Arlie was a good friend and a man after my own heart, and I hope to champion the cause that he fought so hard for in life, even now that he's gone.
Yeah, and our condolences, of course, go out to his family. I'm reading here that he battled through pneumonia to make sure that he could attend his youngest daughter's wedding.
Yeah,
and that's a testament to him, not just as a politician, but as a man. And to the family, all of us here at the Call to Freedom, we'll miss you, Lee, and we wish you the best in the next world.
Yeah, absolutely. Oof. Anyway, so yeah, his moniker was "Stop All War. I am not at war," and as far as I'm concerned, the peace train will continue to roll on, even in his absence. We will continue to push against the drug war and against the intervention in foreign governments and the bombing of foreign countries by the United States. Lee being gone will not make that voice any less heard than it was before. So we thank you, Lee, for the work that you did in your life and the inspiration that you gave an entire generation of radical libertarians. And thank you for the inspiration that you gave me personally. And yeah, like Tom said, I hope to see you on the other side at some point in time. Sit down and have a julep and fish together. Anyway, so yeah, but there are other things going on that we will be covering today. We've got some pretty cool news amidst arrests and threats and kidnappings and just all kinds of stuff. You have the